everyone. This is Apostle Babe Linda James with Matthew Gray coming to you from Southern California and South Africa. It is Thanksgiving night, and I thought it would just be a good thing if we kind of just gathered and checked in with each other and talked about how our day has gone in the States, the United States. We have had Thanksgiving, which means we could have spent time with family, and it might have been a great event, or it might have been a stressful event, right? So, or we might not have had anyone that we hung out with, and maybe we felt lonely. So I kind of just wanted to open this up tonight just to see what your thoughts are, how your day went, and especially because we who have been involved in the Jehovah's Witnesses, when it comes to holidays, if it comes to a place where it's okay with our conscience to celebrate a holiday, we're really awkward about it. we just don't know how, right? Unless we have had some experience before becoming a Jehovah's Witness, we really didn't learn any of the rituals or any of the traditions that might have been handed down from family members and things such as that. So I wanted to just open this up tonight, see how you guys are doing as far as this is concerned. I'm wondering if y'all can hear me okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm checking.
Coming through loud and clear from
volume.
USA.
Okay, good. Right on. So I'm going to put on my glasses and by the way, I got a few messages before the show even started. People were coming by and saying hi. It was so cool. And there's this one gal, Ryan Cultastic. She's more of she's over in New York. I'm here in Southern California, so we're at different places here in the United States, right? So she really isn't up this time of night. But I remember when she first came on the scene, she was doing some really unique sketches. And I was like, girl, you're like the Carol Burnett of the ex-Jehovah's Witness community. And she was so complimented. But I mean that, you know, just her whole comedy style. And she was making these, you know, her and a few other people do that. It was just really wonderful to see her doing that. So, yeah, I can't open my thing in here, so I'm going to be relying on Matthew.
Oh, boy.
If there's any chat, you know, any comments in the chat.
Well, we got Sheila chirping from UK, which is phenomenal. And she says, we're so excited waiting for the chat to start.
Right. And John, like...
no pressure, you know.
Yeah.
And we have a Debbie Moore. Is this on live right now? Debbie Moore, you are live on live.
Yep. And I have the link to join me if you want to join me. You're welcome to do that. And if you want to talk about how things have been going with you, that would be awesome. Today, I didn't have anybody at the house. All of my kids are grown. They're all adults. Okay. My youngest turned 34 the other day. Okay. So they're off being adults and living their unique, you know, independent lives, just, you know, being their gifts, being uniquely different. And matter of fact, where Debbie Moore is more, she's closer to two of my kids than I am. And then I have an older one in Hawaii. So when you see somebody come in the chat that says Maui happy girl, that's my oldest daughter. And then my younger two, they don't care to be bothered with showing up here on the chat. It's just like, we're glad you have something you like to do, Mom. It's like, yep, I like to do this, all right. I'm so glad you found something that occupies you. Thank you, kids. So my second child, which is a daughter who gave me my 3 grandkids, she will give me a call usually when she sees something on the news that is alarming. So recently here in California, we've gotten a lot of rain, which is not a usual thing for California. And we were getting flooding. We were expecting to have flooding. So she called me up to make sure I was okay. So if we have an earthquake or something, she'll check in to make sure I'm okay. And then my son, I have to call him. And when I do call him, we have pretty good conversations, but he's not one that he's going along in life and thinks to himself, I think I'm going to call mom. Nope, that doesn't happen in his brain at all. So I call him every so often and we'll touch bases and we have great conversations. And I've had to do a lot of apologizing with my kids to have the kind of relationship I have today with them. And I did not raise them in the org, but they did go to some of the meetings with my mother when they were younger. But none of them took to it. None of them were drawn to it. And I'm very, very thankful about that. Do we have anybody that's left any messages, Matthew?
Oh, we do. We have quite a few. We've got Good Wife has popped up. We have a Debbie Moore who is chirping on the live chat, which is phenomenal.
I meant to say my kids are in Omaha, Nebraska. So my middle child and my youngest, and I didn't put that in. She's in Nebraska as well. So she's closer to my kids. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
A Goddess is saying hugs if I don't make it tonight. Jay Mars was one of our first live messages. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving Day, everyone. And then hi to Linda. And of course, Happy Thoughts has been leaving message after message. Hope you both had a great day. I set my alarm for 4:30 a.m. Just watched Colin, the CO, visit and what has happened to his daughter's passport. I hadn't realized that your US passport belonged to the government and it's a serious crime if anyone has removed it. Yes.
Wow.
And then Happy Thoughts is saying, Matthew, hope you feeling better than you were on Joe and Fran. Yes, kind of having a meltdown. But that's just nature. But thanks for the concern, Sheila. I think that's interesting about the passport. Very interesting. Because when we did the MTS program, or Gilead, they removed all our passports. When I say they, it was the JW branch. They told us to surrender our passports for safekeeping.
Okay. And how did that work for you?
Well, at the time, I look at that and I go, it's pretty strange, but obviously it's a trust thing. Mm-hmm. When I look back, I go, you guys, what you did. Just one thing after another, after all these memories, you just realize, caramba bamba. But I mean, what do you expect for a international government, right? It's working with the law in such a way that it's untouchable. We've got a message from Derek and Matthews. Happy Thanksgiving, Linda James. I had a good Thanksgiving. One of the churches had a Thanksgiving lunch here for the community. And then afterwards, I brought some extra turkey home for cookie and ice. Been blessed. I'm glad to say I am now driving a 2024 Kia Forte. The other car I was driving is broke down. and my caregiver got a brand new SUV, and she's letting me drive her Kia. News about my heart. I was almost out of heart failure. My heart was working at 44%, and now it's only working at 26%.
Who is this that's leaving this comment?
Derek A. Matthews.
Yes, yeah, he's been letting a lot of us know how he's doing with his heart. And his caregiver has been really good to him like that, letting him use the car and stuff.
Yeah, so Derek, we're feeling for you. That sounds rough. Let's see if we can get it up a few percent, eh? See what can happen. And then we've got Ex-Witness Awake has joined us, and D Happy Heretic. Good morning from Holland. Dear Linda, and you get a big fat kiss there, everyone.
Yay. Mwah, back at you.
Big red.
I feel like Casey Kasem.
Yeah. I was thinking, what's it? Yeah.
Or
Rolling Stones.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Casey Kasem and Art LeBeau, yeah. They were
Debbie Moore is giving us the weather.
Okay.
She says, Linda, your kids in Omaha are in for a winter weather event. It's freezing here. Oh, of western Nebraska. It's cold, but. And then you have a Jessica Barrow who's chipped in. Happy Thanksgiving.
Hi, Jessica.
Debbie Moore, I keep messing up messages. Well, Debbie, you keep on messing up your messages. That's quite fine.
She also does them all in caps. And we've given her the A-OK on that, even though it usually means someone's yelling. She's not. It's just that the way it is, the way it worked out best for her. So we all accept that she's not yelling. She's just writing.
We got it, Debbie. Thank you very much. And then you've got Mama Bear. Hello, Linda and Matthew. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, Mama Bear. Nice. I'll tell you what, when that Mama Bear rises up in me, I do stuff that I usually would never do. But when that Mama Bear side of me shows up, man, I pity the fool that gets in my way.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
nobody ever has.
Well, there was that one time that somebody got the clink.
That's right. That's right.
You know. So there we go. You mess with my kids,
Yep.
you face the law. So well done. And a lousy situation. So yeah, so those are great comments. And of course, Derek A. Matthews says, thank you in for sure. Well, you keep going, Derek. We are sending healing thoughts.
Yes.
What's it? Love and light.
Healing thoughts are so awesome.
Yeah.
You know, Joe and Fran have been making a couple of videos lately.
Oh, yeah.
And they have this unique style to themselves that's really almost a different flavor than when they do Wednesday nights, I believe it is, when they do Joe and Fran, and we all kind of join them. It's been interesting listening to them. I really believe that it's not my job to tell somebody what direction they are supposed to go in after they've left the order, if they are still in the org. I think that it will be within us, and that it will, if we just need to pay attention to what we're drawn towards. And yes, if I think something's dangerous, yes, I'll mention it, but I don't think it's right for me to even tell somebody that they should be on the same journey as me or you or anybody else. That's a very personal thing. And so I found it interesting when Joe and Fran on their latest video today was talking about things, and they made that very clear, you know, that we're not telling you to have these same thoughts, but we're sharing our thoughts with you. And I do like that. I do like listening to people Matter of fact, on Joe and Fran's show on Wednesday, there was a gal that joined us, and she was talking about like reincarnation, and that's what settled with her, her spirit to that kind of spiritual thinking. So I find it fascinating to listen to people talk about whatever that is for them. And it's a respect thing as well. And if we want to have our journey respected, it's important that we respect others as well, as they, wherever they're at in their journey. Which is very, very different than how we were trained in the theocratic ministry school. Because in the theocratic ministry school, we literally believed that we were truly saving lives by recruiting people into this organization, because we did see the organization as the only religion God is using. And if we didn't recruit people, we were indoctrinated to believe that there would be blood on our hands come Armageddon. So it was very much in our minds for us to do that. So
yeah,
it's very different today for me. And I'm wondering if that's what that's like for you, Matthew. You've talked about all kinds of stuff I haven't even heard of. Like, I had to go look stuff up after you've mentioned different things. And it's like, you've really looked into a lot of things.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Because I always take you guys as light years ahead.
I don't know. Maybe
I
all
really
of us
do. I think
Sure.
I think the community is far ahead. I look at it and I see so many facets in the comments. And yes, you're quite right. We heard reincarnation on Wednesday. And the word that came to my mind was eclectic.
Oh, I like that. Yes.
Because now you're drawing from all of these disciplines, you're drawing from all of these things. And so what? We are humans, right? So
Yes.
What's hue? Hue is different colors of the spectrum. So if I say Rainbow Nation, well, you might be thinking, oh, well, that's towards the homosexual side. But when we say Rainbow Nation in South Africa, of course, that's meaning all colors, or all races, all tribes.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would come into the word hue as being different colors of the spectrum. Now, what was it? We were talking with Grower the other day about being on the spectrum of autism.
Mm-hmm.
So is it an actual autism, or it's a culture that is predisposed to manifesting those kind of symptoms because of suppression of normal interactions with people, and normal development, normal social development, because you're taught, well, hang on, the world is all going to die, or all your friends at school are going to die at Armageddon, and so you don't really make the normal kind of relationships with people, and so it manifests like being on the autism spectrum, and maybe it actually triggers biological responses. I don't know. But yeah, another thing that came up when you asked the question was, to the Greek I became a Greek, to the Jew I became a Jew, to the one without law I became without law. And I mention that with all due respect to the audience, because we did have a biblical belief system that was drummed into us. But the incredible irony is, if you're doing your ministry correctly, you are learning from the range of humans, from the range of humanity. You're learning from Islam, you're learning from Hinduism, Shintoism, the Tibetan monk. You're learning from the nuclear physicist that's living down the road, or the agnostic, or the theosophist, or the Thelema worshipper, or the Satanist, or the Luciferian, or the dark side, or the light side. I mean, we got them all in the territory. I mean, we've even got, black nobility. When I say black nobility, I'm talking about the ones that are perceived as, the real hectic nobility class,
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing your work correctly, you're actually connecting with all of these different viewpoints, because you're supposed to adapt with the idea of, yes, recruitment. But what happens if those people are the ones who are extending the true hand of hospitality? I can think of so many stories when I was homeless or I was in trouble, and the Islamic community came and offered the hospitality in incredible ways. Or the Hindu did the same. And I don't want to put one particular religion above another, but I'm just saying, from humanity, I got to see and experience all kinds of things. And I must say that has shaped me. And I don't take it negatively. And yes, Joe and Fran definitely resonate. If they didn't resonate, I wouldn't go onto their channel. They resonate with me. The people that join Joe and Fran, they resonate. That's the reality. So yeah, maybe that's the first. What's it? Giving thanks on Thanksgiving is saying thanks for the community. I might chirp that over and over again like a stuck record and say, oh well, there's Matt going off on the easy subject. Is it an easy subject? Maybe we should be grateful each day as daily bread, giving our thanks each day, not just on a Thanksgiving day, but genuinely being thankful and grateful for the relationships that we have, for the survivors that have come together. If you want to say by fate or by commonality or common interest or just by survival, well, here we are, breathing oxygen. That's my monologue, Linda James. Thanks for listening.
I like it when you get going. It's interesting to listen to, and it's you've got a flow, and I think that's what I like about your videos is that yes, you might have a few notes, but you also just let yourself flow with whatever comes up as well, and I like that.
Yeah, I try to do the notes because there's these, community guidelines. I'm very conscious of that now, especially with what's happened with you. I don't know how free you are to talk about that, but I look at that and I go, geez, man, isn't that so typical of our world cult? You're trying to help people. You got the motive of trying to help people, but people, we got our sacred, we got our profane, we got our downright dirty. So
yes,
how do you deal with trying to help people? I suppose it's like Grow says, you got to have the right kind of settings, because I look at the psychologists, parapsychologists, all the various psychologists that come together. I mean, they talk about sacred and profane. They talk about all aspects of humanity. We try to do it in an academic way and try to do it in an upbeat way. I mean, it's not just a complete rant or anything like that. It's to try and bring some sort of dignity and to bring through dialogue in a way that can heal people. Essentially, it boils down to two things: being present and allowing a person's truth to be manifest or to come out into the open and to be communicated, whatever it is that person feels is true. I mean, they might be colorblind or color weak. They might confuse red and green, for instance. And you say, well, they can't see red and green. Well, I don't accept their truth, so I'm going to disfellowship them or remove them or put sanctions or tell them that they deserve to die. No, that's humans being humans. That's maybe this idea of being colorblind isn't a disability. Maybe it's a manifestation of a different way of looking at the environment that we actually need. Maybe that's the way that we look at it.
And what do you mean by colorblind? I'm not sure what that means.
Well, men generally manifest it. In our family, it's very arts oriented, but we've got those that are color weak. So when it comes to shades of brown or shades of red, it comes as green. So that you might have like a test where there's patterns which make numbers different numbers, and it'll be little green dots and little brown dots and little red dots and different shades, and they're able to see, oh, you can't, your eye and your mind can't perceive this particular color range.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah.
And that is more common with men. You're right.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to just focus on that. I'm just focusing on the idea that different people can manifest their truth differently to somebody else. Now, that same person can lie about it. That same person could lie. So I think the term is truth wave. Somebody that subscribes to the truth wave. You say, well, as long as they are speaking in a way that isn't deceptive, as far as I can see, that is the way to undoing psychosis, or it's the way to undoing trauma, or it's the way to healing. That's how I understand it. And I say to these top psychologists, I say, tell me, what is the best way that we can facilitate healing in a community? Is it by being present, and is it by allowing the truth to be communicated? And I got a yes. I got a yes from one of the leading psychologists on this planet.
Okay. I heard, so Joe speaks of religion as being something that the government uses as a form of control. And historically, I haven't read enough about it, but historically I have heard that, government and religion was kind of married during certain times of history for that purpose. And could that still be the way it is today? I wonder. I do think that religion and going to a church or having a community is healthy for us, can be healthy for us. But I also I can see that side of religion being used as a form of control.
Yes.
And since it's using something like the Bible, which is considered by most Christians as having, that it's inerrant, like there are no mistakes or no inconsistencies, which I've come to find there's a ton, but true believing Christians. As a matter of fact, I was reading somebody's experience with their husband the other day, and their husband told them to read a certain scripture, which was all scriptures are inspired by God. All scriptures inspired by God. And it was another friend of mine years ago that told me, when that was written, the whole Bible wasn't even yet put all together yet.
Yeah.
But I grew
up. That's the logical thought that you can't necessarily say at the meeting,
Right. So, yeah, it's sometimes that's a comfort, and yet sometimes I think to myself, I'm not gonna go with that, because that doesn't work for me anymore.
Linda James, we got a whole bunch of comments that came in while you were very graciously inviting me to chirp. Can I read them out?
Yes, please.
So Debbie Moore is saying, but on the eastern side of Nebraska where they are, it's going to get worse. I take it that's the weather. And then J. Mars is welcoming everyone. Derek, hey, Mama Bear, Derek, eyewitnesses awake, Mars, happy heretic. And then Happy Thought says, everyone is entitled to their own opinions, whether we agree or not. Yes. Maybe that's the colorblind idea.
Yes. And see, when I heard you say colorblind, that's sometimes used as a term like we don't see different the colors of some people's skin. Sometimes that's a terminology used. So I was wondering if that was the context you were using it in, and you were not. You were literally talking being colorblind. So
yeah, but I mean, your mind gravitating towards that. Why not? I mean, that is part of it, isn't it? Eh? I was talking about just how we perceive. Yeah, how we perceive things. So do some people perceive that race is an important thing? Others might not. Well, again, it's all different facets and colors of the spectrum. Yeah, why not?
And I
Debbie
don't want to
Moore,
be.
cats have 9 lives, so I want to be a Maine Coon house cat. I take it that that's when you are reincarnated. That's loved and spoiled and have rich humans who live for me. Yeah. And then Happy Thought says, can I come and be one of your cats, Debbie?
Oh, how cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, cat's personality is so different than a dog's personality. And yeah, it's very unique. Somebody, I think it might have, I don't even know. I was looking through Facebook earlier today and I literally saw somebody playing the guitar on a blanket, like maybe in their front yard or someplace else, and a cow, like a cow, was laying there by this person, and she started playing the guitar, and the cow just put his little head next to her, expecting some affection, right? And she did. She stopped playing the guitar and gave the cow some affection, and then the cow just leaned his little head down and closed his eyes, like just in total relaxation. And I've just never seen a person bonding with a cow ever. Like if that was, I'm a city person, so I've just never seen that, you know? I thought it was the coolest thing ever. By the way, I have my cup that I got from the channel, Fixing My Faith, where I live my life with love. And I have my coffee in here today.
Okay.
I'm all about the coffee.
Okay, great. Debbie Moore says you have to be able to laugh at yourself to maintain sanity. If you were ever sane a day in your life, to begin with, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy Thoughts, the survival mode starts about 70 plus and there's no cure. If I suddenly disappear, I'll see you at our final destination. Well, that's an interesting thought because forever is a very long time and anything can happen in forever.
Right.
Very interesting thoughts, happy thoughts. And then J Mars, getting older is not easy for anyone. Yeah. Happy thoughts. That's so true, J Mars. Someone joined me to the OAP club without my permission. Whew, what a conversation. Thank you.
Originally, this holiday was put together by Chris. It was because of Christopher Columbus supposedly discovering or founding the U.S., the United States, which he did not. He landed someplace else, I think. And anyways, it's about the colonization and how the Native Americans welcomed us. And we ended up really not valuing their culture, which is hard to realize, but that's what we ended up doing. And it turned very, very bad to where, like, you might have heard of playing cowboys and Indians. This is because of what had happened when cowboys, say people that are Caucasian that colonized, and Indians, the Native Americans, became enemies. You know, they were no longer learning from each other, and it's really too bad. And at the same time, when I get to hear about land being given back to certain Native Americans, I'm super thrilled. I wasn't there at that time. I don't know what culture, what my culture would have been like, or how I would have thought at that time. Like, I'm just here today with how I see things today. And it's very interesting how different things will happen after a certain culture comes in or out of other cultures. And it would be good if we could maybe value their culture and not try to change them unless they're asking for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I looked up, you've mentioned the San people, right? I looked them up the other night, reading about them. Like they're considered the oldest civilization out there, like the oldest of oldest, right? And so, and their culture is quite unique. And then at the same time, calling them that is considered kind of a disrespect to, or calling them a bush person or whatever. That was a disrespect, but eventually they accepted being called sand people or whatever. It was just very fascinating to read about them and to see pictures of them. And I'd plan to look into that culture more.
Yeah. I was at Gilead MTS with one of the Khoisan. Of course, it's different if he invites you to say, you can call me Bushman or whatever name he ascribes, because that's different and it's on a friendly basis and it's between yourselves. It's very different to when you're out in the public, what kind of rapport you have. But he had one eye.
Okay.
And he used to write to me and he used to say, old man from the bush.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, old man from the bush. So now, with all the various cultures, what about the language of music? Because I don't know if Debbie Moore is giving hints here. She played for elephants and other wild animals reacted like the cow did with the girl playing her guitar. Obviously then, music is the universal language for humans and animals alike.
I think it really can calm our souls and can excite us. I think the music that Shauna, Vern's good wife, has put together that plays a little bit before the happy anniversaries on Wednesday nights, I think that is so smooth. I love that sound she put together. I love, all kinds of stuff, pretty much most music, maybe not polkas, but I do like a lot of different styles.
That's the brass section you're referring to. The waltz.
Yes.
Eh? Yeah.
It was very like, it kind of reminds me of that song. Oh gosh, what is it called? Oh gosh, I forget what it's called, but it's just very like romantic. I got to think of it. Oh well, it'll come to me later.
You've got two. You've got the banjo "Happy Birthday to You," blinky blink 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 bling, which is kind of, I don't know. I think it's kind of humorous. It's almost Benny Hill,
right?
Benny Hill vibe, and then you've got that superb waltz sort of brass evening sound. That's the romance side, which is great. So those are great choices. I don't know where she's getting her music from. Is it available or constructed?
I'm not sure.
They are good choices. Happy Thoughts is saying something more about animals. Most animals thrive on love and kindness. I've worked with animals during my younger years. And then Derek A. Matthews, I have a small Maltese Terrier mix, 4 years old, named Cookie, and I have an orange tomcat named Simba, and cat and dogs do have different types of personalities. Simba, when he's home, he climbs in bed and cuddles up with me and stays there part of the night. In the morning, when I get up to take my morning meds and then go for that last little bit of sleep, Simba will climb back in bed and he cuddles up with me. He will stay there the entire morning till I'm up for the day. My cat is so sweet, and so is my dog. Sounds like you've got some great personalities living with you, Derek. Great story.
I've heard people say that like animals don't have a soul, but when like everything you've just said says otherwise to me. I mean, it's they're companions, and they do. I'm sorry, if there's 4 horsemen in Revelations, I'm saying they got a soul. Okay. That's just my opinion right there.
Yeah, well, that's the idea about consciousness. I don't know who knows about Thomas Campbell. Thomas Campbell talks about entropy, and he talks about different levels of consciousness manifested in different organisms, from your amoeba to your hydra to your little ant to your little beetle to your whale or a big squid or an elephant, and to humanity. He's been able to categorize things according to the level of entropy that that organism is able to generate. Because some persons say, oh, well, if there's the reincarnation wheel going on, how can we step on a bug? How can we step on an insect? Surely that is rough stuff. And you go to India and you've got certain religious sects that sweep away the insects because they don't want to step on them. You see, that's going to create bad karma, or it shows disrespect for that consciousness even on that level, you see. And so the persons were asking Thomas Campbell, how do you rationalize that? So he's got some interesting thoughts about entropy, whether you want to believe in it or not. But he was featured on Joe Rogan recently.
Okay.
And in the community where I do some work, so I've come across him. So yeah, so if you are interested in those kind of things, those are very good references. He's well respected in some top tier psychological circles, and yeah, very interesting. But what I like about it is they're also able to freely discuss the limitations of their model.
Right.
So yeah, I don't have all the answers, but this has been the observations, or this is what's happened when I talk to my higher self, or when I was able to connect with higher consciousness, or extraterrestrials, or angels, or God, or whatever, or connect with the plants, plant medicine, dimethyltryptamine, DMT, these kind of things. And again, I think for your stream, Linda James, we've got to say that anything that we discuss is taken with essential critical thinking, up for academic review, thesis, antithesis for synthesis, and with healthy skepticism. I don't know if that helps with the algorithm, but I'm assured that if you say that errors and omissions accepted and you give a disclaimer like that, it helps.
Yeah, this is opinion sharing. The last thing I want to be is somebody's guru. I I want to share maybe the way I view things today. I used to view it a different way. I might view it differently in the future. And I can change my mind when receiving new information. So I'm not like, Scripture talks about God being the same yesterday, today, and forever. That's not me. I definitely, have these different times of my life having different revelations and different ways of thinking of things,
So how do we weave in those thoughts that we've been discussing and the thoughts in the chat to the Thanksgiving theme?
I am thankful for this community. I know that some of us, sometimes there's drama, okay? And to be honest, it's not always pretty, okay? But at the same time, if we can give each other a little bit of forgiveness and grace and realize that we are all in these different levels of our healing. So when we first leave the org, we're still carrying the mindset that we've had. Let me give you an example. For instance, a man, like I've been so thankful for you, Matthew, because I've only met one other elder who treats me as a woman with dignity and respect. And that's my brother-in-law. I'm not used to somebody treating me as kind and as respectful as you have. I'm used to elders having a very dismissive, you're just a woman kind of attitude. We'll take care of this and don't worry your pretty little head on these matters, right? So
Okay.
some people that leave the organization after they've came up with reasons that is their reason to leave, they might still have that mindset of women are much less than. So that'll show up in the community of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, and it's not always received well, okay? And not all of us are patient when we see something like that. So some of us women are starting to stand up for ourselves, right? So here we have somebody who's still kind of carrying that patriarchy. Women are not as good as, or just not as equal as men. They're kind of supposed to be below them. And, but women are realizing they actually could set a boundary. They could actually speak up and say something that actually says, I don't appreciate you talking to me that way. Just something simple like that. Just standing up for themselves to a recent elder or ministerial servant that has left the organization. Well, he might still be in that mindset of just talking the way he always has. So they're both where they're at. And that sometimes causes friction, okay? I'll never forget, to me, when it comes to drama within the community, it's kind of like everybody gets a turn. Like sometimes people don't get to be the talk of the town. One time there were some gals that were leaving me messages, but they were calling me another name, so I didn't think they were talking to me.
All right.
I guess I was thinking maybe I didn't know what to think of it. And then all of a sudden, all these girls started apologizing to me. They said, I'm sorry, it was a mistaken identity. So I missed the whole drama because I wasn't around, and they misunderstood me. They misunderstood me to be somebody else that they were very upset with. And they had their reasons, but they thought it was me, so they were giving me really mean comments. But the fact that they came to me and went, we are so sorry, we thought you were somebody else, I had no problem just going, no problem, I forgive you, it's all good. That doesn't always happen within the community. So sometimes we just have to, if we've learned to forgive others so that they don't hold up too much rent in our brains.
Yeah.
That could be helpful,
We've got some really great comments coming in. So we're thankful for community. That's what I'm hearing from you, Linda James. Have I got that right? We're grateful for the community. We're grateful for the forgiveness. I heard that. Despite the drama, that's life. So it sounds like there's an acceptance there that's healthy. And then Debbie Moore, I enjoy this image. My cat Skylar is curled up, sleeping on my pillow, occasionally opening his eye to make sure I'm here in case he needs something.
Very
and
cool.
then Happy Thoughts has got the upbeat comment, animals read inner feelings. J. Mars suggests everything might have a soul.
Right.
I tend to agree with you, J. Mars. I think you're right. The older I get, the more I realize how little I know, Debbie Moore.
Yes. Yes. And I'm really proud of these generations that are coming up and just how clever they are within society at large. For instance, in the United States, we've had some visitors in different towns or cities or states because the president saw it to be necessary. And so today's younger generation are protesting, but in a very softer, they're not jumping back bad. They're not having an attitude of being hostile or aggressive or being a bully. They dress up in these outfits that are like a frog or a chicken. And they're just being goofy. And it just takes the edge off of this stuff that we're all feeling. And I've just found it to be brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. The way some of this younger generation is standing up for their rights in a peaceful protesting manner. And they're just dancing around in these costumes. And I just love it. Absolutely love it. You know? So, yeah, I've been pretty impressed with this younger generation. And here we are, 2025. So a young adult was born around 9/11, okay? And there's been one catastrophe after another here in the States and wherever else. They're used to this kind of huge tragic event happening. So, and yet they're getting access to the internet. And the way that they're mentally functioning through it has been rather interesting. I know that during like the last 5 years when we were at a different time of our lives, that ended up affecting the whole world. Because of the lack of socializing, there were many suicides. And before that time that was happening around the world, I can remember seeing therapists talking about just call us. Like they didn't talk about price or anything. They were like, just call us. Because they knew the lack of socializing, how it was going to affect society at large. And even the organization mentioned in a video that it had affected a gentleman. And if I remember correctly, that gentleman might have, I'm not sure, I don't remember. I'm thinking that gentleman might have spent some time before being a Jehovah's Witness, maybe in the service of some sort. So that time that happened around the world might have triggered some of that for him. But there was all these different situations, many people out of work. And so the usual day would be either one parent or both parents would go to work and children would be taken care of at home or at a daycare. But when things were slowing down all over the world, things looked very different. And usually both parents or one parent would be home with the children all day, and they weren't used to that. So, needless to say, people would be getting on each other's nerves, and there was a lot of stinking thinking because some were out of work, or actually a lot of people got to take their job home with them, and that was very cool. So much so that as things became more normal, some jobs just have no problem with their workers just remaining at home and doing their work through the computer. So that's kind of a good thing. But yeah, the lack of socializing is so bad for the psyche. Therapists were just, give us a call, you know? So
okay, so we've got a few interesting things coming through here. Linda James, Happy Thoughts says something responsively to Debbie Moore. I think the true inner you remains, whether that is a soul, not sure. I don't fully understand that aspect.
Yeah.
So I sort of sense that that's a leaning towards the reincarnation or the recreation side, or however we develop. I sort of feel that there's that leaning there. Maybe we could come back to that if that's all right, Linda James. But there's a few things, because I saw there was somebody with a cry for help just now. I saw that somewhere. Yvonne says, hi guys, and Happy Thoughts. I've been up since 2 a.m. waiting for the chat. I didn't want to miss it. Sleep can be a problem. Debbie Moore was giving an experience about an elder saying you don't have a right to an opinion. Yeah, well.
This is how we as women
jerk.
We're treated, yeah.
Derek A. Matthews is giving Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for the community, and I'm thankful for you, Linda James, when I was first sick after my heart attack. You were there for me. I'm thankful for my fur babies, Cookie and Simba. Cookie really was there after my heart surgery. She would let me know if my circulation was low, and she'd keep me up if I was having a sleep apnea episode.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Derek. You're a very special person, Derek.
Yeah. Fea Lopez says, greetings, I'm in need of help. And then Happy Thoughts, Fea Lopez, you're in the right place. Fea Lopez, I have caught due to listening to the Jehovah's Witnesses Jehovah's Wickedness news, full of false accusements. And then Debbie says, welcome, Fea Lopez. What do you need help with? Yeah. And then J. Ma says, I read Derek's post daily on Facebook. So, Fea Lopez, I don't know if you want to expand on what you need help with. I think the community is curious about that. Up to you. If you want to expand, you feel free to expand. I think we all have that wish to help if we can, as is appropriate. But coming back to Happy Thoughts in the meantime, there's this idea of theosophy. I don't know if that is welcome, and of course not to get into one particular belief system above another or to promote one above another, but it does give a pretty rounded out idea from many different philosophies.
Who was that lady that started that off?
Helena Blavatsky.
Yes, very pale blue eyes. She was set up to marry a man that was quite older than her, and she didn't want to be married. She was very independent.
Olcott. Wasn't the male counterpart Olcott?
I don't remember the name. I'm sure you're right.
Okay.
She ended up leaving him and just traveling all over the world and doing all these writings, and just she was a very stubborn, very unique person. And there was another gentleman in her life that was very much a loyal friend, and he was very supportive to her, which this was 1800s, right? Or
1700s?
Yes. Yeah, 1800s. So a woman being somewhat of a spiritual leader was pretty much unheard of. But then we had the person from Seventh-day Adventist. That was a female too. She ended up getting hit in the head and had visions. But I don't know what they went through to be able to share their whatever it was they were sharing. I don't know what they went through. I'm wondering if it was a hard time for them, Yeah.
So the male counterpart was Henry Steele Olcott, who sort of brought the balance. I don't know who the older person was that you're referring to, but maybe somebody can look that up. But yeah, Olcott was the balancing factor, as far as I comprehend. There's been some very interesting writings about that from a historical point of view and researcher. Gary Lachman. Don't know if anybody knows Gary Lachman. He was in the rock group Blondie.
Okay.
Do you know Blondie?
The female artist Blondie, yes.
Yeah, so Gary Lachman started with Blondie. He's in, I don't know, he's in Hampstead Heath in London now. I don't know, he's somewhere. I don't know if it's Golders Green or Hampstead Heath. But anyway, he's in London. He does a lot of research into that. And like he'll look at all sorts of details, like what story would Helena Blavatsky give over and over again about the ascended masters, for instance, because she believes she was called, whether in dream or hypnagogic state. And sometimes the story slightly alters, whether the memory is sort of fragile. But it's very interesting to have somebody who goes into depth like Lachman, because he can look into somebody like Jung or Freud or I don't know, William James, you know, the so-called first psychologist, modern psychologist, and go into their lives and see where the limitations were.
Okay.
You know, or look at someone like Gurdjieff, you know, Uspensky or Gurdjieff in the Fourth Way, which molded a lot of the spiritual belief systems and psychology in very profound ways, and talk about how, you know, even Jung and Freud was disparaging of each other or disparaging of peers in their circle, and you're going, crumbs, you know, and even go into some of the things that they were manifesting mentally, some of the spook experiences, or waking up in their room and, you know, there's some apparition or something that they're having to deal with, or some manifestation that they're having to deal with. And I appreciate looking at that kind of history, or looking into theosophy, because I see that Happy Thoughts are saying, well, not reincarnation, perhaps another dimension. And I just find it interesting, the choice of words that is being used there, because sometimes you want to get rid of the religious baggage.
Right.
Sometimes
when I think of reincarnation, I don't think of it as like, well, I've heard that the reason somebody will keep coming back is because they need to learn lessons. So I picture somebody gets reincarnated as another person rather than an animal or a bug or something. So if they would come back as another person, and there would be lessons that they needed to learn, or others needed to learn from them. I'm not sure, but I've entertained the thought of it a little bit, but not a whole lot.
I was invited a couple of years ago by Robert Bigelow. Now, Robert Bigelow is somebody who makes space habitats.
Makes
right?
What?
Space habitats.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So we need to send a little pod up into the atmosphere to connect with the space station. So it's got it's a caravan in outer space. That's what it is.
Right.
And so he got hit pretty hard during the worldwide disease. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Got hit pretty hard. Okay.
Yeah.
But some friends of mine invited me to write for Robert Bigelow.
Interesting. Okay.
Because Robert Bigelow said he would give $500,000 to anybody who could scientifically prove, so that it could stand up in a court of law. In other words, our best system that we have says, could we prove that there is an afterlife? Okay? So
Wow.
you would think after years of training with the Bible and years of ministry that I'd be able to write something. Well, I didn't. I thought, no, not able to do this. Can't do it.
Yes. I wouldn't be able to either.
Yeah, because you're
We just
pulling from the
can't.
Bible and you say the Bible says this, the Bible says that. That's our training. And of course, he would be saying, well, you're going to have to prove that the Bible can stand up because there's a lot that's against it. It's
Right.
not looking good. It's looking tampered with. Even
Yes.
your Biblica Hebraica and your Leningrad Codex, not looking cool, guys.
This is true, unfortunately. Yes.
And he says, look, if you can tell me something with scientific evidence about that Bible, well, then by all means present it. But you've got a hell of a task.
Faith is not facts. It's a really different realm. It's an important realm, but so is facts. But they're two different things.
So my same friend who made me aware of the essay that could, because he's $500,000 US, eh? I mean, wow.
That's attractive. Yeah, that's attractive.
And he also being very generous, he extended it and he paid out even more. Eh? But he wanted Dr. Jeffrey Mishlove to write. He says, I hope Jeffrey writes about this because for years since the 1970s, he has taken a scientific approach to parapsychology and to gathering information about the afterlife with the thesis, antithesis for synthesis approach. He says, I really hope he writes an essay. Well, I remember Jeffrey saying to Russell Targ, he says, are you going to write? And Russell says, nah, I'm going to sit this one out.
Wow.
In other words, Jeffrey, if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. Right behind you.
Yes.
Jeffrey won.
Jeffrey won?
He won $500,000.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, and he addressed Elon Musk, he addressed Bill Gates, he appealed to them in his speech, and it was a big thing. But if anybody's interested in afterlife or alternate dimensions, that is an incredible piece of work, and he's made it available for free. Bigelow has made it available for free. And so that essay pulls from many different disciplines, and it presents evidence that you can consider that would stand up in a court of law. And it's not dogmatic, but it's presented in a way that you can say, oh, these are the various experiences from the wide range of humanity, the various colors of the spectrum. Yes. All the various experiences, whether it's dreams from the Aborigines or the Great Spirit from, I think you were referring to Thanksgiving for the Indian culture that was there, or the Native American Indian culture. Have I got that right?
Yes.
So they talk about the Great Spirit. So it's pulling from all of these different things, Peruvian culture, Gaelic culture, Irish culture, all the East, Zoroastrianism, Shinto. It's pulling from all of these different things and it's going, what is the commonalities? What is the imagery that comes through the subconscious? Or what happens in these spiritual processes? Or somebody takes dimethyltryptamine and has a spiritual experience, or somebody takes in psilocybin and has the spiritual experience. What are the commonalities? So this essay came in with all of those different things. So I believe that is as far as we can go in our human experience. I think in the past 140 years, that is the pioneering front line. And Robert Bigelow was interviewed by Joe Rogan himself.
Okay.
So this is frontline stuff. This is going to affect future psychology. So if you're interested in that, the Robert Bigelow essay for afterlife. So I don't know if Happy
So
Thoughts is interested.
this is a timestamp of 1:10, 1 hour and 10 minutes. If you want to come back to this timestamp to listen to
Sounds
Matthew speak of the essay, this would be where you could go back to in the video.
Okay, I'm also going to put it in the chat, eh?
Okay. And
So there we go. So anybody who goes into the timestamp or the live feed, they'll just be able to put in Robert Bigelow. And yeah, we sort of spoke about that a little bit, and a little bit of theosophy. You know, although theosophy for many persons, it would have had a bad rap, eh?
I have heard of people who have left certain cultures that were theosophy based, and it didn't go well for them. But it wasn't the only thing there. It was a combination of things. You know, I truly believe, for instance, Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses have different belief systems. Their indoctrination is a bit different, but the techniques and tactics that are used to make a group a high control, high demand, destructive cult negatively controlling the followers are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
There's a gal that has a channel called Life Take Two, and her name is Jenny. And she speaks of her time as a Mormon and how she was an alt-right MAGA follower, white supremacist, just Mormon, and just the way she used to look at life. Today, she sees things very differently. And she speaks about that, you know, and I think it's highly educational for us to, like, she'll see people talking within government, and she will kind of interpret what this terminology means, which to me is loaded language that she would be familiar with. Same thing like when we hear somebody within politics or whatever speak of New World Order. That meant something very different to us within this organization than it does in society at large. But anyway, she'll talk about the different things that she's hearing people talk about and what it really means, even though they're not saying exactly what it means. It's pretty fascinating. If you get a chance, check her channel out. Let her know I sent you there too. She has
yeah. Well, it's very, very interesting, Linda James. I think what all these references, all these timestamp things, when I go back and I do little fill in with the timestamps, is that helpful, or is it confusing people?
I love it. I absolutely love it. If it confuses people, they're on their own. I'm sorry. Y'all can just be confused about it because I'm appreciating it. It's very cool, actually. And if you have a link to what you were speaking about, you're welcome to put it in a comment as well.
Mama Bear says Blavatsky was a trailblazer. There are some good biographies on her. Sheila, you have my attention. You know that. I'm very obvious about you, Sheila. So when you're talking about where is it? I'm just going through the chat, but you were talking about transformation. I think if one has a soul that doesn't die, where does that go when the body dies? It doesn't need reincarnating. Yeah, I mean, the fact that we breathe oxygen, we're more than the body. Without the rainforest, we wouldn't exist. Without sunlight, we wouldn't exist. So without the solar system, we wouldn't exist. Without the galaxy, we wouldn't exist. Without the universe, we wouldn't exist. So are we just this body, or this is a focal point? I think that's the idea. But okay. So when we die, or when persons have near-death experiences, those are very interesting. Or somebody swallows iboga or ibogaine or dimethyltryptamine, they have this out-of-body experience. Or Robert Bigelow, he mentions on I think it was Joe Rogan's, might need to fact check that, but I do know Robert Bigelow, when they do the centrifuge and they put somebody in there because of G-forces, going up in a rocket ship. So there's that training, and they whip somebody around in the centrifuge. Some report these out-of-body experiences.
Yes.
So there's a separation. So it's without having a drug like DMT, it induces the same kind of thing. So there's all sorts of different things that can be done. I learned holotropic breath work at the branch from
That's amazing.
one of the Gilead instructors. Yeah, and one of the key directors who controls JW Assets. I kid you not. One of the guys who's one of the directors in Ireland doing holotropic breath work. And so if you can go very deep on that, you can go very, very deep in that. And they say, does it release your natural dimethyltryptamine? Whether it's in the lungs or it's actually in the pineal pituitary gland. What's it? Suprachiasmatic system here on your temple and inside. I don't know. Apparently it comes out in your urine, and they can test for it, or there's various ways that they can test for it, and so there's all sorts of ideas as to where that actually occurs or what's actually happening. But yeah, with all of these different disciplines or these different things, whether it's a centrifuge or a DMT experience or whatever, persons are reporting the same kind of things as what happens with near-death experiences. They're saying, I went past the veil, and this is what I learned, and this is what I came back. And whether it's the mind just perceiving this, or however you want to talk about it. How do you know? When you look up at the stars, you look up at these galaxies. I've got it on my Instagram, Linda James, which you've got access to. There's the Butterfly Nebula. You see that Butterfly Nebula? Looks like a giant womb. Okay, maybe I'm using pareidolia here, but it actually shoots out stars. It births stars, from this womb that's up there. So whether we transform and we become part of that macro system, or we become part of the micro system, there's these shapes that seem to manifest themselves that look very, very human. There's a brain cell up there. There's an eyeball up there. There's a womb up there. And you could say, that's inherent within the universe, like the Platonic solids. It's bound to happen. These shapes are bound to replicate, or the Vitruvian man. What's it, that Vitruvian man and the circle and the square? And Leonardo da Vinci's is going, well, how do we rationalize the human frame? As reoccurring within all of these geometries within the universe, and you go, well, what's the link between frequencies, the Gregorian chants, or the link between colors of the spectrum, and ultraviolet and gamma radiation and infrared, and is there a parallel to frequencies of color, like the ephod on the high priest's chest with these multicolored stones of the spectrum? Yeah, so all of these different disciplines, all of these different ideas, the shapes, the colors, the frequencies, the sounds, they all got these linkages, so much so that you can see patterning to such a degree that you can produce something like a periodic table and predict, there should be a new element within the periodic table based upon patterning. So we know that, yes, that is foundational for our present science, right? Not scientism, but it's foundational for our present science in all of these cultures, whether it's African culture or Egyptian culture or Peruvian culture, or we mentioned Aborigine dream culture.
the Egyptians, especially those in that were not the ordinary Egyptian, but somebody of royalness, they were expected to build their tomb, right? That they would be buried in, and that's how we came up with that's how they came up with the pyramids. And so we've seen that they would put all kinds of different things in that room where they laid the body and everything. So they had this expectancy of an afterlife, and needing those things, right?
There's a couple of things that's happening in the chat, Linda James. But with Feo Lopez, I think the advice has been very good from the community about linking to police. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I think the advice is good. To leave it with authorities. That's what they're there for. But we've also got the spiritual side, or the scientific side. Happy thoughts. I don't think that we're on a continual journey of learning in the stratosphere. Why are we on a physical earth as physical beings? I can understand the concept of living as a physical being. Well, as soon as Sheila says that, I think of Stephen Hawking's idea of no data or information is destroyed. It's on the edge of a black hole. Now, I'm gonna make this one clear, that when Stephen Hawking is using mathematics, he's using it in a metaphorical framework, much like an artist might use music, or they use a canvas to describe things. Stephen Hawking would describe things in a mathematical framework. And by the way, whatever you build in a mathematical framework, you can dismantle it and rebuild it again, or you can take it in another direction. All right.
Okay.
So it's just a language. It's just a language that can be used to describe things. So he's saying, oh well, let's put it into the language of black holes as he was comprehending it, and saying, well, on the edge of this black hole, no data is destroyed. If you go to an Eastern way, they say, oh, well, you can tap into Akashic records. In other words, there's a field of records in the universe where nothing is destroyed. If you're in a Jehovah's
Witness history, the Akashic records is a record of all history, right?
In a Jehovah's Witness framework, it's the scrolls of life, full of deeds in Revelation. So you go to the scrolls and everything you ever did was there. So can you say that with these different human perspectives that there's commonalities here? I would argue yes. I would say that you're just using different words to describe the same thing. If you're a mathematician, you're describing it this way. If you're a Jehovah's Witness, you're describing it this way. If you a Buddhist Tibetan monk, you describe it that way. If you're happy thoughts, then you say that we're transdimensional, maybe. I don't know if I've understood that correctly.
Last weekend, there was somebody in the chat named Danny. I don't know if you remember that, but she had a near-death experience. And she ended up surviving, and that was very interesting. Yeah.
Well, one of the wrap-ups there is Star Trek, because Star Trek did attempt to try and simplify things by the use of stories. That was what Gene Roddenberry was up to. He was putting things into a science fiction theater to make these important subjects, I don't know, more accessible, or to try and remove the taboos.
For an organization that teaches us not to have independent thinking, you are like off the charts when it comes to independent thinking, and I'm complimenting you. How did you do that? How were you okay with that if you took to heart no independent? Do you understand my question?
I don't want to bore your audience.
Well, whatever you did, good for you. Good for you. Good for you. Because
My father was a follower of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Okay.
did your father end up becoming a Jehovah's Witness?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Very
he brought some of
respected.
that.
He's respected to this day. He
Okay.
refused to become an elder. Well, let's put it this way. They booted us out on the basis of a boundary change. So they said to us, me and my father, they said, "Oh, you guys are needs graters. We need you to serve in this congregation." When liabilities came up and the democracy got together to try and save their own skins, and they were falsifying records and just lunatics, I've got to say allegedly.
Right. Right.
He just goes, well, if it's come to this, let them do it. It's going to implode on itself. It can't sustain it. I'm too old for this. I've done my bit. I'm going to love my wife and dignify my wife. And of course, I'm going into the procedures and I'm going, well, this is wrong. This is wrong. How can you move us because of a border change? That's fine. But then you bring in others from outside the border. What the hell are you doing? This is okay. So I'm trying to rationalize. You know?
I think that's one of the best. I want to say that's your problem, but at the same time saying that's one of your best problems.
Yeah, because it just
Trying
exposed
to
everything.
rationalize it. Rather
But
than
and
just
the other thing too is I would always make records. I'd go, okay, well, you're saying we've got to move because of the boundary, but you've just because now you don't have a Kobe and you don't have a service overseer, you've had to import a Kobe and a service overseer. Can you explain it to me, please? Can you explain it to the brotherhood here? What you're doing? Can we move on? We're not going to discuss. No,
Wow.
I'm standing. No, that's not humble, Matt.
Okay.
No, we're moving on.
Yeah, that I spoke about that a few weeks ago. That's not humble, or maybe my last show. Humble can question. Being humble is definitely, you can be humble and question, especially for clarity. I think that would even support one's humbleness. That's just, I got 10% less brain mass than a man, so what do I know?
What according to Sammy Hurd.
Right.
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing. So for persons that have been knocked about by the high control religion, we sure know a lot about it. Do you ever remember that video on North and South where there's the sister who there's an announcement, oh, we're moving you across the border to Congregation North and Congregation South, and she's going, but I'm going to lose my friends. Do you remember that video?
I remember younger sisters speaking to an older woman.
That's it.
Saying, that's the one, your grandkids are going to be in a different congregation.
Yes.
Yes, I do remember that one.
And the older sister handles it. She says, I'm looking forward to see you in Congregation South, honey.
She
right?
looks at them, tilts her head very reprimandingly and very condescendingly, and lets them know that following the directions of those taking the lead is the best route. So rather than her realizing that she'll be going to a different congregation than her grandkids, she was still very loyal to the organization and following the directions of the elders. Yes.
So that video came out the week that we were moved across the territory by the circuit overseer, and he brought in others from the other territory to replace the gap. And I said, so tell me, we've just prayed for Holy Spirit, correct? Yes. So the Holy Spirit works through the meetings, correct? It's one of the pillars. Yes. Comes through the faithful slave, correct? Yes. So we've just done this video. You came up after the video about North and South. You've just broken that direction, but you've prayed for Holy Spirit and you've gone completely against the governing body direction. Can you explain to me on what basis that you're doing that? No answer. So, and of course, I just go, well, I'm just putting this on the record. Because you feel that you can come in here and there's no minutes, there's no notes, and so therefore there's no accountability. What you've done is you've manipulated the system for your agenda. I propose that you've done it because you want to put your friend in to a power position because you would like to upgrade them to circuit overseer status. That's called ambition. That's called manipulation. If you want to tell me I'm wrong, then please, by all means. The only reason why I got so... look, I wouldn't be disrespectful in those situations. I would just ask questions.
Right.
I'm giving the audience more of an aggressive story, but I wasn't lousy or nasty or abusive in those things. I just say, please, can you provide me with the reference?
What I hear you saying is, please help make it make sense, because these are contradictions. Make it make sense, please.
Yeah.
And I don't see that as something in disrespect.
Yeah. And especially when persons in the congregation have said, well, look, Matt, can we tell you why we want to talk with you and we want to talk with your father about this, because we're facing abuse from that elder. Okay? They're involved in something I can't talk about on YouTube.
Right. That's
all right.
Yeah.
They're involved in this.
Yeah.
And it stinks to high heaven.
Okay.
People have lost their lives over this thing. That's how bad it is. And so, yeah, I'd go, well, if I'm going according to my training as an elder, I want this on the record. I want, if it's a circuit overseer, I don't care if you corrupt. I'm gonna put you on the record. I don't care. I don't care if you're on the governing body. And I remember one sister, I happened to say everybody is accountable in this organization, and she did her nut over this. Said, oh, Matt, are you disappointed with our leadership? I said, ooh, don't take this out of context. I said, I'm going to write you a letter. I said, there isn't a person from local rank and file to governing body member who cannot be corrected. And she said, oh, that's apostate thinking.
Why would that?
You've got dissatisfaction for the leadership. I said, sister, do you know how many governing body members have left? Are you aware that Anthony Morris has come off recently? Are you aware? How about Chitty? I didn't say Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
No, but you're right about that one.
I said Chitty, and I said, who's the other? Greenless. I mentioned, there was Greenless, there was Chitty, there was Franz, and Anthony Morris, who came off. And I said, yeah, look, even in our class, MTS, we've been tasked with correcting even circuit overseers. We go and we correct even branch committee members, and it would come through on the hub system. Oh, you've got this assignment. You've got to go and talk to so and so, and you've got to, I mean, it's coming through the JW system. So we've got a sister who's before. I'm going to get my friends together because you're not listening, and I've got a point to, and you're not, and you're undermining my point. And going, okay, putting this in writing. And I will answer you in writing. I'm not going to do this verbally because it's getting emotional. We'll do it in writing. So I've got it all in writing. And she couldn't answer, which frustrated the hell out of her because she's going, can't beat the logic. But I'm going, the only way you can deal with when it's spinning out of control is to put it in writing. And of course, so she sends this to the elders. I'm reporting this to the elders. I said, I've already reported it to the elders. What are you talking about? What are you going to try and do? This whole thing is to do with the elders. So all you're doing is you're trying to replicate what's happening on the video. Oh, I am taking you to the elders. I said, I am an elder. This is already an elder's matter. You have no idea what you're trying to get involved in here. And go, okay, fine, bring it. But your democracy when there's a liability that they're trying to protect, they by numbers try to get together and go, well, we outvote you.
Yes.
So go, okay, well, then the procedure is this. Let's put everything on the record. Let's put why you're outvoting. Let's put it on the record, and we submit this to the governing body for their review. It's in permanent appeal. Oh, you didn't think, I don't see that in the SLF book. You won't see it in the SLF book. It doesn't exist there because that would empower you too much. I know that appeal is there in branch manuals and on governing body level. I know that exists, and it's been existing there since the initial charter from 140 years ago. We must look at the comments that I'm not prattling on and upsetting anybody. Okay. So I said that we got to make sure that we still use that procedure that's inbuilt into the charter. And that's what caused this loop situation, because we actually got the branch committee saying, on record, saying, oh, we agree completely with Matt's. Yeah, we can't fault the logic. That's completely theocratic. But now if we take action, we're going to have to eliminate our circuit overs here. We're going to have to remove our circuit overs. We're going to have to remove a whole bunch of elders, and we're already short on elders. Crumbs. And when we do that, it would show that we knew about the situation. We didn't act fast enough, which means we've created a liability ourselves. It just became a mess. So I think when Grow was saying, oh, you're still a Jehovah's Witness, it's only because of nature. It's only because of this weird thing that's happened, And I'm going, you know what? I'm not going to force anything. I'm going to just let nature take its course. That's my approach. I'm just going, if you guys tie things up in knots, you're doing something ridiculous, let it occur. I'm not necessarily going to write a letter saying this or playing into your game or something like this. If you've created this mess, you fix it. Why should I fix it? If I'm still on the system as a fiduciary, well, you fix it. Go to this. Oh, you don't want to take me off? Oh, why? Because you're all scared about accountability. Well, that's your problem. That's not my problem. I've gone to the police and been upfront with why this has come out the way it has, is because there's allegations of abuse and violence and things like this, which you've instigated, allegedly. That's not my problem. I'm just reporting legally and lawfully and actually with what JW has been preaching for years, that we're all law-abiding citizens.
Correct.
So where's the problem? You've got your opportunity. You better tell me where I'm wrong. You've removed me now? Or you make a surprise announcement that you've removed me as an elder or as a pioneer, but you still link me into the elder system? Can we show the police that I've still got access to these? Shall I show you a current big, can you see this letter? Big case with small people where there's been, can I show you a legal case? How come I've got access to that on the system if I'm not an elder? Well, then you've got a leak in your system. You've got a leak in your own security system. You better lock that down. Oh, Matt, you better tell us where that leak is. Oh, am I an elder now that I should tell you where that is? Isn't that your problem? You see, so it's just ridiculous.
I love it. Yes.
And it's young people who are stuck because they would.
And you know what?
I'm sorry to the audience.
Let me just say this to you, Matthew. Hearing the route that you've taken, because it was conscientiously the right route to do. I'm thankful that you have, because I've seen enough cases where when it comes to going to court, the lawyers that get sent by the organization ends up saying that the elders in whatever congregation they were in, if the elders are, like a lawyer says, look, they have to follow this elders manual, and this is what it says to do. And that's why they did it, because they were following the directions of the governing body. I've
Yep.
seen lawyers show up and say, no, they can use their own conscience. AKA, they throw them under the bus and they don't take accountability for the actions of the elders that were clear directions from higher ups on how they are
Yep.
to behave. And if they didn't do that, they would be removed from the elder body. Okay.
That's right.
So what you've done makes it to where you can't really be thrown under the bus in this manner. I'm sure they can find another way if necessary, but I've done shows where I straight up start talking to the wives of the elders and tell them things that, listen, your elder husband is going to be going through this, and this is how it's going to affect you. Okay? Because they're kind of left out of the loop, understandably so. So I do a little bit of filling them in.
I'm giving this story actually in response to Debbie Moore, because she was told by an elder that she's got no kind of opinion. And I just go, what? Some uneducated, egotistical, self-righteous, pharisaical, pedantic, I can't use any other words on your channel. I want
Debbie
to.
Moore is one of the most intelligent women I've met.
Yeah, which is probably why she had, I'm going to say it's why she had a hard time, because she was identified.
Yes.
Here's another one. We've got an anointed sister sitting in the congregation. I say, well, according to Revelation, she's an elder by default.
I'm sorry.
Right?
Gosh, okay.
Right?
Yeah, I'm sure that
because but it used to be a time, but the men and women, they make up the faithful and discreet slave.
Correct.
And say, well, what is she now? The only difference now is your governing body, legalistically and by corporate control, represents the anointed.
Yes.
They haven't taken over it. They haven't just eliminated the anointed. They represent the anointed. Because
the 144,000 are still the anointed, but it is only the governing body that is a faithful and discreet slave. Where it used to be all of the 144,000 were the faithful and discreet slave until 2012, I think. 2012. Yeah.
So if they eliminate the anointed, who are they representing?
Yeah.
You know, it just collapses in on itself. So I say, well, you're representing the sister. Did you get her opinion? Is her opinion valid or it isn't? And was Jehovah wasting his time?
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Sorry about that.
Even when there was part of the 144,000 at Bethel, they never called upon them to get their opinions anyways, or did they?
There used to be a provision, like I know that there were sisters that were working, like Barbara Anderson, right? Okay, so you had some on the system who were bringing in news articles for like Awake and for research. There were many sisters doing that, eh? There were many sisters.
Okay.
So, yeah. Matthew, thank you. That's a good point. Well, thank you, Jay Moz. Who is the slave now? What happened to the slave class they used to teach? Good question. When anybody knows how it actually really works, give us a call on Apostle Babe 807-209-0501, and no, I don't know. What's your toll-free number? Yeah, so I'm not cool with the fact that they treated Debbie Moore really crap. That was not cool. Big Mac, they're just covering their own.
Big Mac, I had something to say to you at the end of my last show. How funny that they could use their own conscience.
Are we allowed to use that word on your show, Linda James? It's a good word.
Yeah.
Jesus came into the town on an ass, which is a donkey.
Yes.
So yeah, there we go.
So I remember so Big Mac, I was listening to the after hours phone call after Rick Farron's show ended last weekend as I was getting ready for my show to start. And you were
Yeah.
talking about, although you hadn't been baptized, you ended up disfellowshipped, but you had an uncle who left, but everybody was still able to talk to them. Okay? I believe that was the way it was. Can you confirm if that was the way it was? Because I remember you kept saying, why was that the case, you know? My guess is that the uncle and whoever else was there may have disassociated themselves or simply faded, and it was before the rule of those that are disassociated are to be treated as those who are disfellowshipped. So there was a time if somebody disassociated themselves, we could still talk to them. And I think your uncle might have fell into that time zone, because you were saying your time zone was like around 88 or something, right? Now, if you read the book by Raymond Franz, they ended up getting rid of him from that, okay? It's like that's when it came into place, when Raymond Franz had called some friends over to join them, and he's sitting there with his landlord and boss, who had disassociated himself. And it was still okay to speak to disassociated people. But for some reason, these people that got invited to the table came and talked about it. They did a bunch of investigating, this, that, and the other. And what they got him on was talking to somebody who is disassociated. And so the article came out right about that time. But even the article that came out that said we don't talk to disassociated ones anymore, it still was an article that came out after he was sitting with his boss and landlord, McGregor, I think it was, McGregor. And
it was a manipulation.
So, yeah, it's like they retroacted.
That's right.
On Raymond Franz to get rid of him, as I believe that was a disfellowshipping. They had he and whoever else was happening, things that were happening at the org, he stepped down from the governing body. He was not, disfellowshipped at that time. He went to a congregation, hung out there for a while, met McGregor, lived on his property in a trailer and stuff, worked for McGregor. McGregor gave him a job. And then that rule came into place. That was about 1980. Okay, so I think your uncle, that situation happened before the 1980, and I think your situation happened after 1980, because I remember you saying 1988. You got disfellowshipped, but what I also heard you say was your behavior disassociated you, which I had never heard you say it like that before, but still it was one of those things that mom wouldn't talk to you. It affected you had with your mother. It was pretty neat. It was pretty, horrible experience for you. And I remember you saying you saw your mom at the store or someplace, and she's like, "You've got to come over for dinner." And then she lets you know that now she can talk to you and stuff, and just how much you despised that situation. So
that was Big Mac's experience, eh? Is that right? Okay.
Yes, I'm talking about Big Mac and my theory of what happened, or why that happened the way it happened. So I was eavesdropping, but not in a bad way.
So Big Mac, I've got the correspondence about the beards policy if anybody's curious about how that got reversed. It's one of the reasons why I got this big wizard's beard on.
Can you say that again?
Well, Big Mac in the comment is saying if they use their own conscience, the beard policy would never have been an issue of contention. I had enough because I say one kid, he was a grown man, but he was working his backside off when 3 congregations couldn't get an elder together to lead field service. It was ridiculous. And this guy is doing all the elders' work.
Wow. Okay.
I'm a phenomenal guy. And then the circuit overseer, the same one who shifted us from the territory to all of this games going on, manipulate. And we had a warning, by the way. Another circuit overseer said, watch out for this circuit overseer. He's got an agenda. So we were already prepped for his nonsense, which is why I was going, I am recording everything that comes out of this guy's mouth.
Yeah, very smart.
Yeah, anyway, so we've got this young man, okay, working his backside off. And we had, from UK, various elders with beards giving talks, right? And in Cape Town, there was some with beards and things like that. So we weren't your normal run-of-the-mill, no beards kind of people like in the United States, for instance.
Right.
But yeah, we knew it was taboo, and you could see you can't use people on the assembly parts. And we knew that, yes, it was compartmentalized, that there was nothing in writing about no beards. You would only find that at assembly level, that it was service desk guidelines, correspondence guidelines, and you would find it in writing in a compartmentalized way the deeper you went into the organization. But your average elder wouldn't have it in writing. There would be vague references, clean shaven.
Right.
It was very, very vague. And I saw we'd done research on it for 20 years. We've been tackling and writing to the branch, and the branch was saying, yes, if you guys want to have beards, have beards. Yeah, 20 years ago. So I went to the file and all that research disappeared.
Oh my goodness.
I'm thinking, all our hard work, all the work is no, and I'm going, guys are going into the file, you're destroying all the work. Oh, this is just, I can't. And I'm devastated because I'm going, how hard did we work on this? And you just evaporated it. But I had backups. So I sent the entire backup to the branch. I said, we'd just like direction about this because the circuit overseer says I have to administer the discipline to the young man. He qualified for everything except that he had a beard. And I even said, the circuit overseer on his Instagram, on his, what is this, WhatsApp profile, he's got a beard.
Wow.
And he has just disqualified him for having a beard. He's got to wait another 6 months. I said, this young man is going to go ballistic. Oh, well, you're going to counsel him. And to top it all off, he says to me, and you don't tell him that this is circuit overseer direction.
That is so messed up to you. That is putting you between such a rock and a hard place, and you have to do oh my God. That's just not.
But this is what I'm beyond fed up at this stage. I say to the other elder that's partnered with me.
May I ask, was this a black gentleman?
Sorry?
Was this young brother a black gentleman?
No, European.
Okay. And I'm asking because of the way the hair grows in and
I was looking after 3 congregations, 3 language groups, Chichewa, Shona, and English. And he happened to be English, and racially you designate him European. I don't know what you would say in the States, but white European, Caucasian.
Yes.
Great guy. I mean, really phenomenal. Welcoming. What a spiritual person should be, folks. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. If you'd been a total narcissist, I suppose you would have qualified in a shot, But yeah, good guy, welcoming, just doing everything. And so I said to my partner, the elder, I said, you know what I'm going to do? You know how the circuit overseer says, I mustn't mention the circuit overseer put his foot down and eliminated him? So that's exactly what I'm going to do, because the only way I believe we are going to heal this young man is with the truth. And if we suppress that truth and he doesn't know how the organization works that he is trying to become part of, I said, then there's no learning that's going on. Let him learn exactly how this thing works. So here it is. This is the brother. This is his name. This is the guy who put his foot down. And the information is not available to elders. It's at branch service desk level, correspondence guidelines level, or assembly level, and it's compartmentalized. And you can do a song and a dance about it. It is a form of artificial authority control. In other words, you do not have the information so that you are beholden to others to go and say, please, can I go to the bathroom? Please, can I get permission for this? Okay, may I go on holiday? It's got to create that artificial dependency system.
Yes.
I said, that's how it works. So I put that in the letter. I said, oh, yeah. I said, if the young man, I said, if you gave him a directive, you said to him, it is against Jehovah's Witness policy to have a beard. He was going to shave it off. For goodness sake, when that circuit overseer came and left, and now he's on ice for 6 months, what did the young man do? He shaved off his beard. But you disqualified him. It's not open rebelliousness.
Yeah.
Right? It's not open rebellion.
Exactly.
This is spiritual abuse.
Yeah, it is. And it's...
And so, yeah, so now this is the
shows
other
up in
thing on
so
record
many
was, yeah, the two circuit overseers, narcissist circuit overseers said to me, Matt, we're human. It is our right to get things wrong.
We're human. It is our right to get things wrong.
Yeah. We are speaking for God. I said, right.
Oh, hell no.
I've got it on record. I told the guy, I said, I've got you on record now. I said, I'm going to quote this because that is spiritual abuse. You are putting yourself above all of the research that was done, all of the correspondence that was done with the branch. And I'm putting you on record now. Because, yeah, I said, because what you're doing is you're oppressing the congregation with this, and you think you're smart. You think that you're not on record. I said, right now I'm letting you know you are on record. Oh, you're now going against confidentiality. Oh, really? No, this is called the 2-witness rule. Putting you on record means I now have a witness.
Okay.
Oh, you want to play this hardball? Fine. What do you think you're going to threaten me? Oh, a loss of an elder? I can't function like this. I don't want to come to these people and destroy their spiritual lives like this. I can't live with that. That is everything I ever preached against. This is why you shoved me into the bush for 20 years. What are you threatening me with? Oh, we're going to remove you as a pioneer. Well, we said to Sister so-and-so down here, whose husband was abusing her, but who you punished her and you left him on as an elder. I can't facilitate this kind of abuse anymore. Oh, no, that's fine. Take me off. But I'm not going to say take me off. I'm not volunteering. You're going to have to force your hand, and you're going to have to expose yourself in doing this. But I can't function like that. I'm going to be like John the Baptist outside Jerusalem. I'll just carry on outside as I always have. I mean, that's why you threw me off into the bush anyway, or compartmentalized me for all these years anyway, because I'm a problem, because you can see what this is all about. No, I'm not going to function like that. And when the disciples and the apostles said to Jesus Christ, oh, there's somebody that's healing in your name, shall we stop him? I said, I'm going to be like that character outside, because it's just corrupt. It can't do this. It's just and it's got to a saturation point. If you provide me with the direction in writing, people are going to jump through those hoops to do it. They'll shave off beards. They'll do it because they clearly know what is required. These are the same people who went to prison or detention barracks and made all kinds of stands, wouldn't salute the flag. We are used to making stands.
Right.
But you're making it impossible for anybody to breathe and function. Folks, I think I must have to your audience.
I hear what you're saying because, and I can relate to this because I can remember I would ask elders these different things, and I got a big old long answer of a bunch of vagueness, non-specific answer, and it still wasn't, my question still didn't get answered. So to this day, I like to know what I'm doing and why. When I don't know the why, it's a very uneasy feeling for me. You know what I'm saying? It's like if I'm going to take directions from someone, but I don't know why I'm doing certain things, that might be okay for some stuff, but not. For instance, I remember being told that I needed to obey the elders because the elders were going to have to take an account for my behavior. But I knew that I was going to be the one taking an account for my behavior before God. So if I was being directed to do something that didn't seem right to me or went against my conscience, I was supposed to do it anyways. This was very frustrating for me. And as a woman, that would be the stance I would take with a husband as well. And I just could not function in that.
There's a little vein in my head that's doing this.
I could hear it pulsing. I know, I can hear it. Oh my God, that's too hilarious.
Anyway, thanks to all the understand. Debbie, thanks for understanding. Happy thoughts. Thanks, Jay Mars. Thanks for that, everybody. You deserve more. Yeah, gosh. So anyway, that's I think this was for Big Mac. Yeah, so that's how the beards thing changed. When Norway came up, it was just enough to push things up because they couldn't. When that thing was submitted, they couldn't argue against anything. They saw, ooh, yeah, we have, because they were saying, oh no, we're always clear with our direction. We said, no, it's an artificial authority thing, and they got caught, and it exposed that it was written on service desk, and when that happened, the cat was out of the bag, and so that's when they announced, yeah, beards, yay, victory. But it was supposed to pacify.
Yeah.
The whole thing. And I said, I'm not going to have just this little tiny, it's your beard. I am going to look like holy Moses from the mountain.
There you go.
So that's the.
As a woman, I've always thought, that must be so strange to have hair grow out of your face. And it's just the normal.
This was part recovery, and eventually it became a protest thing. So it had grown so long because I was so sick from trauma.
I like it.
Pathogen. I thought I was knocking on death's door, but by the time I sort of came around, it was long enough, and I thought, I'm not going to take it off. I'm going to let it grow like, what is it? One of these guys on what's one of these films that you're not supposed to see? Lord of the Rings.
There you go. That's what my friend Keith called you. Didn't he call you? What did he call you? Dundalk or something? I don't remember.
What are the wizards or whatever?
But it was about your beard. It was like hilarious.
Yeah, one of my nephews came round and it was he says you're a wizard. It's either you're a pirate or you're a wizard. Now, I don't know who is it. Dumbledore? I don't know.
Something maybe. Like that. Now, back in the day under Rutherford, he was a clean-shaven man.
Yes,
and I believe that he wanted every man to become clean-shaven to be more of an imitation of him.
Yes.
And traditionally, at that time of life, many men had beards or goatees or whatever, and
Yeah.
Russell had one. And so, from what I understand, he kind of viewed those with these beards as being, it just represented Russell too much for his liking. And Rutherford was very like, he would have liked to run an army and wanted everybody to be clean shaven. Recently, here in the States, they had called all these different leaders in politics to come and sit, and a couple of people, Trump and another gentleman, talked to them, and the gentleman was telling them all not to have any beards. And clean shaven is a wonderful thing, but for those that are black, okay, or African American, their hair is so curly. Okay, it literally rings around inside of the hair follicle and creates these little bumps. Okay.
Okay.
And it doesn't grow out easily. Okay, so
Yeah.
hair that is straight, picture a straw being cut to the side. No, cut to this side. So when they shave, it's cut to one side, the hair is, okay? And it's under the skin. They put on some aftershave that closes up the pores. A day goes by, and instead of growing out of that hair follicle, it will curve and just keep circling around and around and around, and it doesn't come out. It just creates these individual bumps. So this is a challenge for someone that has curly hair.
So there are those who haven't shaven, like Johanne Masoe, who's of African stock, who had a big beard. So it does happen. So I don't know. You got all. It's like any other race. It's those with skin disorders where it's grown in on itself or whatever. But you're right. It does happen in Black African culture. They get the skin disorders, but you can also get ones with.
It's not a skin disorder. It's the way the hair grows out of the hair follicle. So
Sure, but I mean, I'm quoting John Masoe because John Masoe was an African spiritual leader with a big beard. So you've got your apostolic faith mission, or those that are like your traditionalists, and whether it's diet or whatever, you've got ones who've got really successful beards. But what you're saying, yes, absolutely, that does happen. I'm not invalidating it. That absolutely does happen. But also in African culture, you've got ones dreadlocks and big afros and but I mean, in Zimbabwe, it was all about, it had to be very, very short and all of this story. But I can think of ones in Malawi now with the richest tree of hair you've ever seen in your life, and it's phenomenal, and they're healthy, and it's great. And you want to say a vegan diet, on vegan, and not living with chemicals and rubbish, and out and bathing in the river kind of thing.
Right.
And it is phenomenal. And there are those places in tribal trust lands where there's clean water coming out of the spring. And the environment certainly does have a massive impact. Oh, it's absolutely. A lot of the problems that people face with their bodies and things like that is largely environment and diet. Because as soon as you put them into places where they're eating, I want to say Bambaira, Mabdumbe, and Mapudzi, but nobody will know what I'm talking about. But they're roots that come out of the ground.
Okay.
And as soon as you're on that diet, your headaches disappear, your skin starts looking good. Yeah. Your gray hair starts going darker, and you're going, what? I didn't know you could reverse this. And you're realizing a lot of this is environmental.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah,
A lot of this
that's
is
very
environment.
amazing.
What are we talking about? I'm sorry, we deviated.
talking
That was a
about
rant, but I think we got it under control. So thanks very much, Linda James. You calmed it all down. Debbie Moore, I held my mouth nearly 50 years as a JW. I'm almost 65 and feel like I have the right to say anything damn I want.
Big Dr. Well, balloon beard is sexy as hell. Girlfriend.
Yeah, and I have a hard time holding my tongue when it would have been better to stay quiet. Whatever. Oh, we were talking about the Rutherford thing, clean shaven. By the way, that was in the Gilead course.
Okay.
I know Gross says I should release the Gilead course. Maybe I will. But there's a lot. That course is huge. It's massive. But in there, they discuss Rutherford and the Beards. That's not top secret. In the Gilead course, they tell you that was Rutherford's rule because he wanted to separate from Russellites and from the Russell era because he basically come in and got rid of the board of directors.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that's what he did. He booted them out. It was a corporate takeover. That's right. That's essentially what it is. But what amazes me is it's in the Gilead lectures. They don't hide this. It's there.
Wow.
And I included that on the Beards thing for Big Macs or whoever's interested. I put that in there. I said, no, yeah, this thing is basically from a Roman system. It's from a legal system when we basically converted the organization to a legalistic driven organization, which was actually contrary to what.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Which is actually contrary to what?
Russell didn't want this thing organization.
That's true. That is very true. Yes.
They didn't want to do that. But Rutherford was butthurt from prison, essentially. So the fact that he was aspiring to be this judge, I'm this respectable judge that did like 1 week of substitute service.
Yes, he was a fill-in. And it was like somebody getting a nickname. Like I could start calling you ZZ Top because you got this long beard. And every time I see you, I'll be like, hey, ZZ Top. But you're not really ZZ Top, but I would call you that.
Yeah. So it was contrived, and he fed into it. It wasn't like, we will call you this, because he wasn't well liked anyway. He really wasn't. He was a pretty despised kind of character. People didn't warm to him. Whereas Russell was like Father Christmas. There was this.
Right. Do you know why him and Russell and his wife chose to be celibate? My theory is that was their way of choosing not to have kids. Like at that time, culturally, that would be the only purpose of playing patty cake, for the purpose of having kids. But
there's more complexity to this, but I can't remember, and it's one of those things I need to go into notes for. But there's more complexity, and it was more like.
Yeah.
Sorry, Linda James. I don't want to get into it because I'm not prepared on this one. But I know that there's more. There's more to it.
Not a problem.
There's more to the story.
Yeah. Let's bring it up another time.
And the fact that Russell, there was this court case. And, this thing about him being a jellyfish.
Her brother was a lawyer. Or her lawyer. Both. I'm sorry. Yes, jellyfish. Go ahead about that.
Yeah, you got it.
To me, he seemed like a healthy man who would have healthy cravings and desires, right? So
yes, men want to procreate. That's how we all arrived on this planet.
Hello. So
grandma did it. Great grandma did it.
Exactly. So
it's a passage as old as time.
Thank you. Yes. Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a mystery. So, let's visit that another time. I've always been very curious about that. And yeah, that was brought up in court. And I remember that was one of the complaints she had. So to me, okay, I don't know if it was culturally of the org or if it was just the family I grew up in, but I always got the impression that if I ever had these desires, I, the woman, should not bring it up because it's unladylike. So when I look at those court cases, and she said that, she was forced to be in a celibate situation, if it was considered unladylike to say that, it didn't, that didn't seem to hold her back as even mentioning it as a complaint. So I don't know if it was just me, but that was actually something I had to work through. Didn't care for it very much.
Yeah, humans' procreative side and the drive. It's very, very interesting. From the African experience, I don't know if it's just been in my life, it's the women who initiated.
Really?
When they lock onto you, that's it.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean that's all the stories. I mean the circuit overseer who comes home and there's a woman waiting for him. That was in our training. It was in our training that's the culture.
Okay.
When I was in Chipinge, I was thrown into the back of a truck by politicians. Yeah, I've told you this story, eh?
No, I'm laughing at the expectation of this story.
Yeah, and folks, you must tell me if I am boring or over dominating or whatever. But here we go. Lisa Pinson, hi Linda, you're looking lovely tonight. You're getting hugs and kisses.
Thank you, Lisa.
Debbie Moore, there are natural cures for everything, but getting it is nearly impossible. Yeah, Africa's full of these cures. Look, I don't want to say noble savage and that there is this incredible enlightenment. Africa is full of problems. It's got solutions, but it's also got some of the worst things you could ever imagine happening. But yeah, there are incredible cures growing in your backyard. I mean, yes. I think of ibogaine. So that is an incredible substance.
Can we go back to you were thrown in the back of a truck?
Back of a truck, get thrown in the back of a truck because I'm in a place called Chipinge, which means control. And I don't know if this gets into Happy Thoughts idea about the spiritual structure of things in the world. It starts getting into the weird side. But your politicians would come there to have linkages with the spirit world, whether you want to say it is extraterrestrial, whether you want to say that it is the higher self, whether you want to say it's us as humans, or whether it's an evolved human, or it's our non-corporeal existence, whether we imagine it, whatever. The thing is, the politicians believe in it, and it is powerful stuff. It has the ability in insular societies to change perceptions of the people living in those societies. And in fact, I would say that whatever happens on an insular, enclosed level can happen on a macrocosmic scale, can happen globally. So what we were taught there in that place was incredible, because that is where Scientology came from. Yeah, Zimbabwe. Scientology came from Zimbabwe, folks. It came from Nyasaland. That's where L. Ron Hubbard was in those places. And your Stargate, your grill flame, which is what Congress was essentially paying for during the Cold War with that SRI program. yeah, it came from Zimbabwe, came from Rhodesia, which is where I was stationed. So this place is called Control. So your politicians were coming here. Even here, I've got Prince Willie walking around in this territory and Bill Gates walking down here. Hey, you go, what, Matt? Yeah, they're down the road, folks. They come and visit. What? Yeah. So these places where I get stationed, Chipinge was one of them. The politicians would come, and it was kind of like Dante's Divine Comedy Paradiso, where there's that picture of all your angels, your angelic hosts in this big circle. And, those engravings, Dante's Divine Comedy.
I'm not familiar with it, but I've heard so much about it.
So the Stargates, these portals that are around. Cape Town's another one. It's said to be a chakra of the planet. Okay. So you've got all these focal points, and Chipinge was one of these where they like Halloween, when the layer is very thin between the spirit world. And you can make this link, yeah. So the politicians, they shoved me in the back of a truck. They've been observing me for some time, and basically it's an abduction. That's what it is. It's horrifying when I think about it. But I just, I'll go with the flow.
6 years later, you're going, I think it was a kidnapping.
Yeah, I was kidnapped.
This is how things connect with me too. I'm like,
can't realize how badly traumatized. So yeah, I'm abducted by politicians. I mean, hey, wow, that's wild, right? So, and I'm taken out to one of these locations in the bush, deep bush, and I think they realized, this is we already know we've done wrong. But they were telling me, and I can see it through their eyes, and I forgive it. I actually forgive it. And you go, gee, Matt, how can you? I go, I don't endorse this behavior, but I can see through that perspective. And I can actually see that through the way they were doing things, they were trying to help. I actually can see that. I can see they were trying to help, but they were also trying to control things too.
Yeah.
But they said to me, they said, you're being served by the woman here. You know that the women are the backbone of our society. They're the water. Because if you look at the Zimbabwe bird, you've got the zigzag. That's the water. It's the foundation. The women are the true power here. It's a matriarchal society, actually. Although we say that.
Why? Wow. Why am I not in Africa? Okay.
Well, remember, it depends on what circle I'm in, and this is an Ndau area. So I mean, you've got. It's not like that all over the place, right? And again, let me not paint a picture that it's idealized. It isn't. It's full of problems. And just because you've got one circle that believes this and another's, look, it's a mess like anywhere else. So it's a mess like anywhere else. But I go there, and it's a traditional fire blazing, and I've got these really elegant African woman, much like if you are attracted to my pictures, well, that's it, folks.
Okay.
Right? Those are the kind of people, because these are real people. This is not when somebody says AI. I use AI to animate something,
right,
or to assist me in ChatGPT or something like that. But that my pictures, that's by hand, oil on canvas, folks. That's come from real people. These are real people.
It was amazing with that video you put out when they came to life. I was like, wow.
That's modern technology. But the only reason for that is just the story and your recommendation, instead of just hiding all of these things and to just go, this is where we are, guys. Let's animate it.
But it's part of us being our gift. And let's be our
So anyway, so one of these women come out, and they've just killed a chicken.
Yay.
And I'm supposed to eat this thing. And it's one of the layers, so it's as hard as hell. So traditionally, you're supposed to eat this hard chicken. I can't eat this thing. But anyway, he says, you better eat it because you are going to upset the women here in this village. And if you do that, you've crossed a line. So anyway, I do my best. It ain't KFC. It is cartilage. That's what you're eating. And that's the traditional thing. So he says, well, you've been observing my wife or the wives here, and yeah, they're in control of things. So here's the advice, Pastor Gray. We know who you are, and we are quite aware that you have been sending, or your people have been sending missionaries into Africa to basically give us a modern slavery system. We wanted a Pan-African system where we are relying on our own wealth and our own resources, because Africa has got all the lithium, it's got all the gold, it's got everything here. But what they did was they sent in their missionaries to basically destabilize things and to condition the minds that we have a slave race that's working for the Western colonial system. We know that. This is the politicians telling you. Okay, yeah. And they said, and you are right in the jam, your watchtower. Yeah, we know exactly who you are. We've been watching you. So you want to know why you're not getting anywhere in the territory? This is why. Because we know how this thing works. So if you want to get anywhere in this society, you go and find yourself one of our African women, one of our black-skinned African women, all right? I don't know if I'm offending anybody or if this is PR, but this is how they spoke to me, folks.
Right.
And they said that if you want to find one with European physiology, we've got them. They're there. We like them big and round, okay? That's but right. If you want one that's more, I don't know, like in a man kind of Somalian look, then we've got him. Go take your pick. We don't care. But bring her back to this circle where we will approve her. You can either pay Lobola or we'll pay it. But we're sure you've got a few pounds to pay for Lobola. All right? Bride price. Right. It's dowry, bride price.
Yeah.
So that's the way things are done. She's happy with that. We'll approve her. And the reason why we want you to do, and you can pick several. It doesn't have to be one, because according to our charter, you can have a polygamous situation. That's all cool. I mean, this is wife number 3 and wife number 4 over here, and we're all good with this.
One of my friends at church spoke of her father as having 2 wives.
No, Abraham, go read your own Bible. Tell me this. It says, but you'll have now become our Nkwasha. In other words, you're our blood. You're sharing her body, her mind, her spirit, her heart, everything. And you're part of our family. Because once you have that connection with her, you're under our control, and we will have approved you. So it's about control.
Okay.
And we will listen to your good news message. You can set up how many churches you want. Whatever you want to do, you're one of us.
Okay.
And they did a demonstration of this because I had at that time 24 Bible studies. I had so many Bible studies I couldn't cope. And I would go into town and they declared me a prophet.
Right.
So they were coming good on what they promised. I just didn't play ball. I didn't play ball. Because I'm going, no, this is an illusion. This is not real. And I'm going, no, this isn't the way it's supposed to be done. And Jehovah's Holy Spirit doesn't work like this. And I'm not making agreements with politicians. And I'm certainly not going to have a polygamous marriage or something like this. Or a worldly woman. I don't care what race she is, but it's worldly. So
worldly, yes, worldly.
Yeah, so I'm going, no, I'm not doing this. And then they reversed polarity. When they said, oh, you're not playing ball, then I became a witch. Then I became opposite of a prophet. But I mean, it was like a biblical scale. I would go into town. It was like being a rock star. I could not move. I couldn't move. There were people yelling and screaming and fainting and wanting to be healed. And I'm going, wow. The way that you can make an evangelical church in this situation when the politicians are on your side, man, everything happens your way. I mean, I'm in public. I can't move, and the people are feeding me.
Wow.
There was a guy coming through like a Shaka Zulu stereotypical person. You want to talk about Thanksgiving with the American Indian culture? This guy was so black he was blue. Okay? One of these guys, 6-pack, I mean, tough as anything. And there was this like spiritual connection in Shona language or in Dao, you can say something like Chiedza, and it means several different things depending on your context and your connection with the people, and your emotional connection or your spiritual connection with the people. And I would be there ready to faint. I'm going, geez, and I'm, Jehovah, help me! I'm doing this, and he would come out. I haven't spoken to him. He would find me and he would put fruit in my hands and say, eat it.
Wow.
Or these greasy little ground nuts or, whatever. He would always pop out of like nowhere.
Wow.
I haven't spoken to him. It was this like telepathic link. I shouldn't say that, It was this.
It sounds mysterious. It really does.
Yeah. And they just go, well, welcome to our society. This is what humans are supposed to be like. This is what, and it is incredible to be so synchronized in thought. When you date somebody in these areas, you don't have physical contact.
You don't?
You don't have physical contact. No. You're in love with this girl here, this woman here. Okay. She's going to sit that side of the room and you're going to sit this side of the room. What? Okay. How do you do anything? The reason for that.
No, go ahead. The reason
for that is they want you to use the force of attraction to create your telepathic link or your intuitive, whatever words suit your audience here.
Wow.
But your invisible connection, your love connection.
What a trip.
Debbie says, everything is about control. Even where I live, I'm in an assisted living apartment and asked for physical assistance. Now they want my apartment. Yeah, all control. Big Mac, women are 100% amazing and men probably wouldn't survive. Well, men wouldn't come into existence, wouldn't survive, let alone thrive without that amazing duo situation.
You ever notice when a man loses their wife, their wife crosses over, it's not uncommon for a widow to remarry within 9 months to a year and a half. And it seems as though they're needing a woman in their life for them to just exist. Like if they don't have one, they're not going to function well. Yes, they can cook themselves a meal. Yes, they can dress them, you know what I'm saying? But just the accompaniment, they need that. The nurturing, they would be lacking that.
Well, I still don't know what the heck's going on. Somebody said the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know anything. And I got to say, I agree with that. I feel humbled with the people in the community here. I think, you know what, Linda James, this is my observation. I think that the people with like Joe, Fran, persons here, you've got intuitives. This is why we didn't get on with this higher control religion. It was there to suppress the whole thing. Debbie, you were suppressed. You were told shut up, or what value is your contribution? Shut the hell up. Wear the shut up shirt. And I think what this was all about was actually suppressing the intuitive ability. It's like, why is the Khoi San people like 100,000 or something, or whatever number it is?
Yes.
because it threatens the whole authority system. Why is Africa not economically independent? Same reason.
Yeah.
And that's what those politicians were saying to me. They were saying, yeah, we actually do like the Gaddafi idea. And what did he get? He gets the bullet. But the whole thing there was Pan-African getting together and saying, look, we're going to be independent of all of this nonsense that's happening in the West. We have the power with our African science, with our African drugs, with our African resources. Look, you've got tribalism, you've got other problems, let me tell you. So easier said than done.
Absolutely.
And also these various jurisdictions with, if you want to say, spirit-controlled regions, they also fight against each other. I mean, you don't think that your spirit world's all nicely united. It isn't. It all fights against territory, however you want to perceive it. When you say, Matt, you're just nuts. Look, I'm just reporting how they perceive it, how the politicians perceive it. They're big-time believers, and they're strict on their rituals. They're strict on it. You think America isn't doing rituals in front of each other? Well, go take a look at a Lady Gaga concert or I don't know, Super Bowl. You've got all these spiritual practices right in front. The same practices that is happening at a Jehovah's Witness AGM, by the way. John D. style. Go figure.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Linda James, do you want to bring some sort of direction to the discussion? I'm getting that feeling like I've been...
Yeah, I was thinking I'm going to sing tonight, and I'm going to call this kamikaze karaoke. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to do it because my adopted child gave me a microphone.
What you going to sing for us, Linda James?
And I've got a speaker, and I can get karaoke on this thing, okay? So I'm going to try to do some songs through karaoke so you all can just enjoy some entertainment. And hopefully my dentures don't fall out, okay? Please be patient with me. So,
well, I've just time-stamped you 2:37 singing.
Yay. Yay.
Linda James, ladies, gentlemen, and others, we now present the karaoke section.
Okay.
May we give thanks.
Okay.
Linda James, ladies, gentlemen, and others.
So
we now present the karaoke.
That got connected to this, which I have to disconnect. So we'll be getting a lot of me going, I don't know exactly how to make it work, but I'm going to try it, okay?
Okay.
So that
and if anybody wants to sing along, they can come on StreamYard. Is that right?
I don't think so. I've tried that before on a different show, and the time
it didn't work. Okay. Scrap that.
So what I need to do is exit this. Okay. That was why I heard you. And earlier tonight, I was using another device. And in the middle of the song, it would do that little spinning thing. So that might happen too.
What, disco ball?
Right? Yeah. No, it was like not a disco ball, but it would be a stall.
Well, while you do that, I'm going to read some of the live stream. Can I do that?
Yes, and I'll just get started when I get started then.
And then that'll take a bit of heat off you. Big Mac, what have you been saying? Kings need a queen. Yeah, I agree. And then Happy Thoughts, to procreate, a male and female is required. Yes, that's normally how it's done. Big Mac, sometimes it's necessary for the king and queen to live on opposite sides of the river. Laugh out loud. Yeah, okay. What else have we got going on here? Jay Mars, great show tonight, a treat before Saturday. Well, you're very kind. Thank you for that. I think the whole idea was to have fun, wasn't it? It was Thanksgiving and fun. Hey, Linda James, that was the motive.
Yep. So I'm going to turn my microphone on.
Okay.
That's on. This is
Okay.
on. I'm going to warm up with some Fleetwood Mac Gold Dust Woman. Let's turn this up. Can y'all hear me? With a little bit of echo.
Oh, we hear you.
Rock on, gold dust woman. Take out the silver spoon. Dig your grave. Heartless challenge. Pick your path and I'll pray. Wake up in the morning, see a sunrise, go down. Lousy lovers, he that pray, but they never cry out loud. Cry out. What did she make you cry? Make you break down. Gather your illusions and love. Is it over now? Do you know? Pick up your pieces and go. Rock on, ancient queen. Follow those who pale in your shadow. Rulers make bad lovers. You better put your kingdom up for sale. For sale. What did she make you cry? Make you break down? Shatter your illusions and love. Now tell me, is it over now? Do you know how? Pick up the pieces and go. What did she make you cry? Make you break down? Shatter your illusions and love. Now tell me, is it over now? Pick up the pieces and go.
Linda James. Got to tell you, the parts that we heard, brilliant. The live stream's giving us hell, though.
That was Fleetwood Mac. And now I'm going to do a little bit of Patsy Cline.
Linda James, can you hear any of us? Can you hear me?
Tell me what?
Linda James, we seem to have some technical problems, sadly to say. What seems to be happening is the sound seems to be breaking up.
Oh,
and
that's
we don't
a bummer.
know why. Yeah, it is a bummer. But what we did here is brilliant. Really enjoy that. I don't know if there is a way to just maybe look at settings and see if we can get it coming through clearly. Because alternatively, we might have to record you in Audacity.
Huh.
But
So
sorry
it's the
about that.
computer
But I
that's
can
picking
see
up the
see in the comments, and I can also hear, yeah, this thing is not coming through so great. But the parts that we did hear, brilliant. But we lost
Cool.
you for a large part.
No, if it's messing up, then that's something I want to fix. Oh, I'm still talking in the mic. But was the timing on beat with the music?
Oh, no doubt about it. Just
Okay,
the only problem is the live stream somehow was chopping you out.
So it was the music that was cutting, not so much my singing, but the music.
Everything. It was the music
Everything.
and it would sort of go in dips. We could sort of hear you coming in, and then it disappears.
Okay, yeah. See, that's what I want to know. Okay, so I'm going to figure this out eventually. And eventually, I'm going to have a night where I have so many songs that I'll put together, and we'll have a little concert night.
But what did come through, very cool, Linda James. Thank you very much for that.
Right on. And thank you for telling me
you have
this.
honored us with your voice.
Thank you for telling me this, because I wouldn't want to do another song when it's coming across like that. That's crappy.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I'm sad to say, but we were in the right kind of spirit. No, thank you very much for doing that, because
okay, Tom's
that means
here.
a hell of a lot.
Hello, Tom.
Hi.
This is our Big Mac.
Yeah,
Big Mac.
I've been
Big
watching
Mac.
the show, and it's great. I think tomorrow is Black Friday. You might be able to get a new microphone. Maybe that's all it is.
Maybe. Yeah.
But yeah, excellent show. Thank
So
you.
Tom, this is Matthew.
Happy
Matthew, this is Tom, which is our Big Mac.
Yeah,
Howdy,
I'm big.
Tom.
Yep.
Big
Yeah.
Mac.
I am actually kind of big. I gained a lot of weight over the last couple of winters.
So have I.
Yeah.
So have I. But you're healthy. And I remember when you were in the hospital. That was scary.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was on once. I think I had didn't I have like a feeding tube in my nose at the time?
You actually came on while you were at the hospital.
Yeah, I remember that.
Came on
Yeah,
the
that was
show.
last year. That was crazy.
you-
I spent 15 days in a intensive care unit, and I escaped death like 3 times. And I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for blood transfusions and the plasma treatments,
That's what
I
you're telling me.
probably would not be alive. So
And
you know what?
and you
I'm
complimented
glad.
the whole staff and the hospital. You were just like, this place is top notch. Saved my life. So yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, it's thank you for putting me on. I've really enjoyed listening to you, Matthew. I don't know. I spent way too much time trying to watch the texts and trying to listen to you and follow the whole thing. But it sounds like you have a hell of a lot of experience in all this stuff. That's pretty amazing. And kudos to you for just being a good person and wanting to do the right thing. And I'm sorry that you had to find out this late in life that they were not the truth. You know what I mean? It's hard for a lot of us. But anyways, thank you for your experience and sharing your knowledge. You're very, very knowledgeable. I appreciate it. That's all I wanted to say.
We're also trying to free it up for people as well. There's an opportunity to see if we can sort out this terrible shunning thing, because it is absolutely damaging people left, right, and center. I'm only going to mention this. Hamburg. Folks
Thank
can
you.
look it up. Look up what happened in Hamburg.
Germany.
That was so close. I had people right there that very night that happened, and in a short window, Colorado too. I'm not going to describe
That's
it.
right.
I think everybody
Christmas
knows
Day.
in our circle what that's about. So for the
Christmas
sake of the
Day.
algorithm, but enough is enough. And if it's facilitating abuse, it has to change. It has to shift, because it's getting to the saturation point. I didn't realize. I thought it was an anomaly that there were these few cases. I didn't realize that the rot was so extensive. It can't carry on.
Can I share one? Yesterday,
Sure.
oh no, actually, it was today. Today, I was watching Kim and Mikey. They're friggin' I cried. I was crying. That just devastated me. The things that these women have gone through. It really. So you're right, 100%. Somehow it's got to get out there. People need to know. I agree with you. I hope it does. I really do. $100 million lawsuit hopefully will open somebody's eyes, and some Jehovah's Witnesses will say, "Hey, wait. Is this real? Is this real?" Everybody thinks it's all AI, and it's all for some reason they think it's all like apostate lies, but it's not. It's actually, this is the bullshit that they're hiding from everybody. But anyways, thank you. Yes, you're right, 100%. And I don't know what we can do. I honestly scratch my head every day. Yes, my son's he's way in it. He's a ministerial servant now, and I don't know. There's nothing I can say. If I try to say anything against the association, he will shun me as an apostate. So I can't say anything to him. There's nothing I can do to help wake him up. You know what I mean? And that's how they are. So it's evil. It's an evil organization.
Big Mac, can I mention something about what happened the past couple of days? I could hardly talk on Joe and Fran's show.
Yeah.
And I was exhausted mentally. It was cognitive exhaustion. All right. Okay, I've got injuries. I've got an underlying condition, but I was exhausted. I had 2 calls from the branch. Yeah. You want to say, Matt, you're living in a dream world. Let me tell you something. Truth is stranger than fiction. I get 2 calls from the branch. So we always say, oh, the guys are tuning in, or it's a third party tuning into these shows. No, it's the branch tuning into the shows.
To our show, to the shows?
Well, like what Joe and Fran were talking, talking about this thing of they had a very specific topic, and and I get a call on the specific topic.
Oh wow!
Saying, oh, by the way, I happen to agree with you. I said, say that again. Yeah,
really?
Agree with you.
Yep.
So what's happened? This is what's happened, right? Okay. Over 140 years, you've got Grandma's Trust Fund on Grandma's Trust Fund on, with all of these rules and legal systems over legal systems that over the years have put in so many protective systems, legally binding because of Rutherford. That's where it starts. Nor puts upon those systems, and And because you've got so many instrumentalities, so many different, I'm going to just say it for what it is, businesses, non-profits,
100%. Yep.
instrumentalities. This is a resource recovery division. This is an asset management. This is a property flipping thing. This is a whatever. Okay.
Everybody is just a number. Right.
Right. So because you've got all of this, and you've got guys who are thinking, oh, Armageddon's coming 1975 or Armageddon's coming year 2000, whatever. Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Oh, that was the big one.
Right. Sorry, I've got to be more careful. I get more. I start opening up and talking, and I realize I've got to very respect Linda
we
James.
need to hear this shit, man. We need to hear people opening up and expressing their frustration. We need it. People need to see our real emotions and how we are affected, so they know we're not just making up bullshit. So please,
Right.
So I'm sorry. Look, I get stuck with what I can say and what I can't, but I'm trying to get it out. It's not easy, but anyway, thank you for that. So I get these calls, and it's okay. I'm going to make a long story short. We agree. What? We agree. But because of all of these systems, because of all these little rules, all these little backup things, and redundancy programs, legalistically tied into, if you want money coming from here, well, then you got to jump through this hoop legally. If you want this share to come through, then you got to do this. And if you want so many boxes of Microsoft Windows, then you've got to go by this agreement and that agreement. And if you want this concrete coming through here, you got to. So it's so many of these systems over 140 years that they thought, no, new world order or new system or whatever you want to call it was going to come in and save the day. They are caught by their own legal system. So you can have, and I don't mean to be devil's advocate, my experience with someone like Anthony Morris was he was a good man. Why do I say this? Because we had a huge racist problem here in Africa. Massive. He comes down and he says, oh, by the way, do you know my kids, they married chocolate? This is what he says, to quote him.
Really?
Yeah, he says it was his attempt to try and break this perceived racism thing.
But the ice,
Yeah. He wasn't popular when he left. He wasn't popular. They hated his guts here. So anything that guy did, if he goes off to the bottle store, you can be sure, yeah, that's great, because that gets him out because he's a problem. So it was almost like he was acting in the interests of his kids who were getting onto branch committee. And he's going, gee, I've got to apologize to you. How do I apologize as a member of the governing body and saying, oh, I promised you that Armageddon was going to have ended by now or come by now, and we were going to be in the new system by now. And you now on the branch committee, wow. Well, I've got to tell you a few things. Christ forgives you because of this, and he's putting it into PR terms, but if you translate it, saying nonsense that we fed you, because that's what it was. It was the nonsense. So it was those kind of speeches that were coming out, and they were just going, nah, it's enough, and enough is enough. So he's having a crisis of conscience. He's also trying to say, well, let's keep to our old charter. Let's keep to these rules. And no, we're voting you out. Enough is enough. So I don't want to target Anthony Morris here, but I'm trying to just show the complications of the legal things that were going on, where they can see, this is all defunct. It's dead.
Well, no. Can I ask you a question real quick? Interrupt. Do you really believe that he's having a crisis of conscience? Because it seems like that half of all of these new changes and stuff that they did, he would have been one of the guys voting against a lot of it. And
yeah, it's conflict.
You know what I mean? I think you might be pretty much on spot as far as that. You think he might have had that?
So those calls that I got basically agree with you. You have a very good perception of what's going on, Big Mac. When you're coming on and you're saying, "Oh, geez, there's this." If you've made a deal, say for instance with Kushner, right, with the East property sales,
Right.
and you say, "I've got 9 million, not YouTube followers. I've got 9 million persons who are psychologically
paying us every week or every month." Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to build for you. They're going to send you cash. They're going to buy cell phones. They're going to do whatever we tell them to do.
Right.
Yeah. Kushner, I'm not saying this. I'm doing this illustratively. This is an illustration. Please prove me wrong, folks. This is only for academic review. That's all. But Kushner gets all excited and he says, "Oh, tell me, in this deal with the East River Properties, I'm very interested in the people. Can we sweeten things somehow? Can we do certain deals or swing things in a certain way that we can make so many sales?" "Yeah, we can do that." "Ah, great. Fabulous." So it's these kind of agreements that are just interfering in a corporate way with what should have been, I suppose, if you want to be idealistic about the spiritual direction, that should have been genuine. Well, of course, persons are saying, "Well, this thing was corrupt from the get-go to begin with."
No, it was these properties. Okay, I was watching one today, and they made a very good point. All of these properties were dedicated to Jehovah. They were dedicated for that purpose. So then they went and they changed it, and it's all about the money. It's not about that dedication anymore. So yeah, it's very evident that doesn't mean shit to them anymore. It's all corporate, and it's all about money.
So your lawyers are going to say, "Listen, we're going to override you guys. We've got enough brain power to tell you you can't just let 15 billion or whatever it is that it's estimated at controlled by the Irish lepta system or whatever it is. We can't just let that evaporate." I mean, what kind of fool would let that happen? Even if we're a controlled director, a board of directors that's watching each other very, very closely, and we're bound heavily by contract and non-disclosure agreements. All right. Let me tell you something. If you're a director and you say, "Well, I cannot put my hand into petty cash," no, not allowed to do that. That doesn't matter. Bank doesn't look at you like that. It says, "Oh, you're a director of a multi-billion PBO or NPO. You have got clout." The bank puts you on a Learjet, flies you over here. It's a great life. Wonderful. Yeah. You have got so much clout. If you ask for loans, you can do all sorts of things. You've got so much leverage as a director. It's incredible. You tell me that that's not happening. Well, we see that. We see that happening. Well, how are the guys shoving in their ministry time on the golf course? And this is the conversation.
They have been very successful, though, at pulling the wool over anybody that is. They've devoted their lives to this idea that they've been sold all their lives. A lot of them, like my kids. I mean, I brought them up in it. I mean, when they were in their friggin' mother's womb, we were witnessing to them. So they don't know anything else, and all they know is that anybody that says anything other than what that organization tells them, they believe it's from Satan. So they have so much control that somehow it's working. I think it's slowly. I think slowly some people. And I think now that people are going to be able to go to college and maybe get a little bit of critical thinking ability, there might be a little bit of a break, where a few more people are going to wake up and holy shit, they're lying to us. You know what I mean? But they have they've done it so well. They have just totally blocked their minds that you and I are able to see this, but they are not. And
Yeah,
it's,
so you've got your normal run of the mill genuine JW that hasn't got a clue as to what's going on, and yeah, that's where it hurts. But it's almost okay. So your Bethel's divided. You've got guys saying, "We want you to take us to court." Do you know why? We actually want you to blow this thing open. And you're going, why? So you're saying we're trapped. We're stuck. We're trapped. We're medicated. We're trapped here. We're not feeling like we're going anywhere. It's got to come to its end. This is the kind of mind-blowing conversation that's going on. You're saying, well, why has it come to this degree? And they're saying, well, because the cat's out of the bag in our information age. You know, AI is there. So Big Mac, I don't know. It's still worth fighting for.
I so strongly hope with all my heart that you're right. I really do, because that if the cat is out of the bag, that will be so nice.
I don't know. I don't have answers. I'm so confused by this thing. I mean, that's why I could hardly speak the other night, because they give me a court case. I get sent a court case. So this is a current court case.
You have people from the branch calling you. Are you still a witness? Why are they calling you?
I'm a witness to all sorts. Yeah. Oh, geez. It's a mess.
No.
It is such excuse me. I wanted to say it's such a goddamn mess. Am I allowed to say that? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is absolutely okay to say it's a goddamn mess.
Yeah, so it's all about trying to say, oh no, we're keeping you on as a fiduciary because when it hits the fan, it's going to be on you. And you're saying, well, if you want to have a title of elder, you better step up. You better take on the fiduciary, and you watch. The guys don't want to touch it because they know that when Mr. 19-year-old or 20-year-old was given this wonderful position, I say, tell me, who did you replace? Because just now they were on their knees.
A 50-year-old who has devoted his life and his soul and his love for everybody in his congregation, everybody in his territory, everybody at every one of the assemblies. Just there was nothing but true love for these people. These people,
true.
We all loved each other, man.
That's
it was real love, and they took advantage of that so bad.
Yeah, look, I mean, you've got some real a-holes as well. I mean, let's not pretend.
Oh, there are. Oh, definitely, there are definitely.
You've got real narcissists, I mean, when they're bad, they're real bad. Okay.
Yeah, you know, and some congregations were worse than others, and I happened to grow up in a good one where there were very few. So, but you're 100% right. There were others. I heard all kinds of shit. Yeah, they were assholes. Yep.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I say I had an overseer. Guess what? He got prison.
I was lucky. What's that?
I speak about this openly because it's on public record. My overseer got prison.
Your overseer was put in prison?
Yeah.
Okay.
For all the things you can imagine. You let your imagination go wild. Guess what? It's on public record.
Okay.
Wow. No shit. I mean, no kidding. I'm sorry.
Truth.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, that's you saying how I feel. So yeah, look, you're right. Look, I only wanted to chip in there to validate what you're saying. So I have this hope. Whether I got a blind hope, whether I'm living still in Gaga land, I'm going, well, I hope that the legal system is able to open up a pathway to this spiritual abuse of shunning people where all they've done was they were whistleblowers or there was some kind of potential liability that was opened up. Because the reality of the situation when I look at the congregation records is you can do anything you like. You want to get drunk? Fine. You want to go fornicate? Go fornicate. You want to do anything you want, you can do it.
Just don't admit it. Don't let other people know about it. And
Well, that's one thing.
yep. And that's it took how many years for you to figure that out though? You know?
Well, the other thing is you go to your pals who are doing exactly the same thing. How about that one? Because you want to absorb your conscience. So go and call up your elder who's doing the same stuff.
You know, and that's I think a lot of us that end up leaving actually had a stronger conscience, because I know I didn't. I refused to live a double life. I watched all my, pioneer friends and all these elders, kids. They're all about it, getting away with it. And because but I refused to do that. I did not want to live that double life. And I think that I would have to say that probably a huge majority of our XJWs did not want to partake in that double life. But I think there's a huge majority that are still stuck there that don't even realize that there's a lot of them with double lives. But and like you said, it's hard to reconcile your head to the whole thing, because you think you have a friggin' idea, and then next thing you know, it's like, I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It shouldn't be this way.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's what. So. All right. So you're in Africa.
Yeah, I'm so far down south. You
time
can't
is it
get any further south.
Because it's 3:12 a.m. at my house right now.
Okay.
What time is it over there?
Normally I'm on Fran and Joe's till about 4 a.m. in the morning here. So at the moment now 12 past 10.
Did you say it's 4 a.m. at your place, Tom?
Yes, 3:12 a.m. at my house.
Oh, 3:12. Okay.
Yeah.
So Tom, man, I empathize for what it's worth. I think that from what I've learned a little bit about you, you're in a very crappy situation. I'm really sorry. I feel for you.
Oh, no, I mean, you only get the highlights, because when you're texting all this stuff, and you're only spending a couple minutes talking, we tend to focus on the highlights of the bad things. You know what I mean? So yeah, I had a lot of shitty experiences, but I had a lot of great experiences. It was disassociated when I turned 18 because I smoked a cigarette, and then and I wasn't even baptized. But then when I got married when I was like 25. I got married. I bought a house, and we decided we wanted to find a religion. So we went and checked out a whole bunch of religions. And of course, who do you think I'm going to go with? So I ended up studying with some really super spirit. I mean, the guy used to be a circuit overseer, and he ended up moving to our congregation because he got pregnant. His wife got pregnant. But he was one of the best teachers in the world. I had nothing but respect for the guy. And he ended up studying with me and my new wife at the time. And she ended up getting baptized, became a pioneer, quit her job. She had a college degree. She quit her job. And I didn't have any degree. So I supported her so she could pioneer. And then we ended up having kids. But so when we had the kids, all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, I got to do something. I don't have enough room for any kids in my house. So the whole congregation and a bunch of them around the area, they all had a 2-day kind of like a quick build on my house. They went and they took a single story log cabin and turned it into a double story in one weekend.
Wow.
Honestly. And it was all free labor. Yes. I I had a lot of really good experiences. You know what I mean? I haven't had a chance to tell all those good experiences, but you know, I have. But anyways, so you know that all happened because I stuck with I tried so hard. I studied with a few different excellent elders. I even a like a circuit overseer. They just couldn't answer my questions. You know what I mean? And I could never get a good answer for how can something that's supposed to be true, you know, not be true. So I just could never commit myself, but everybody else in my family did, and I supported it. So anyway, so you know, it wasn't all bad, but it's also, you know, New Hampshire, and we don't have any political issues going on like you do in friggin' Africa. That must suck. But,
so Linda James, Tom's mentioned a few things now to be thankful for, and I think he's reminded me why you got us together on this day. What's the emphasis? What are we thankful for? What's the good stuff? Well, that we're no longer slaves to a lousy system.
Even like, I'm so thankful Tom said this, because it is extremely rare that you hear about anybody in New Org that helps a family like what he just said. His house, they built it up and made it bigger for him because his family was growing. I don't get to hear these stories very often. When a follower has a need, that it gets filled. Like, this is very rare, and I'm really glad to hear this. And it sounds like it just came very naturally, which is beautiful.
It was an awesome experience. And, you know, and my neighborhood wasn't very big, so it wasn't like a big witness event for like a big community, but everybody in my neighborhood noticed, you know, and people really appreciated that religion because of what they did, you know, and so, you know, and they were very, I don't know, it was special. I was blessed.
Absolutely.
And yeah, you know, but like I said, it's very rare though. You don't hear that. I don't know anybody else that had that happen. I don't even know how the hell it happened, but it just happened. You know?
Yeah. It's easy to let the lousy stuff overshadow. Linda James, can I mention something? Tom, can I mention something from Debbie?
Sure.
Yeah.
She says that she's struggling with the sound, and I don't know if it's a problem with StreamYard or if it's happening to everybody generally. But is there anything that we can do about sound? Have you got some kind of controls there, Linda James, or are we at the mercy of the system?
I don't know of any controls. When you were listening, Tom, were you hearing?
I'm on a phone. No. When you were singing, I did. When you were singing and the music, I couldn't really hear the music, and your voice was in and out. That did happen, but since we've been conversing, no, there's been no issues for me. But I don't know. My wife just came out of the bedroom like, I'm talking too loud, I guess. It's because it's pretty late. 3:30. I'm almost 3:30 in the morning, and here I am out here hollering at you guys.
Okay, well, it sounds like it's all cool. Natasha says it sounds okay, and then Debbie says, oh, no, it was during a song. So I think we're good to go. But Tom, I tell you what, listening to you, I can hear the truth here, and I'm grateful. I think any bit of awareness helps, eh? It really does. And I like the upbeat way that you're putting things. You know, you're going, I'm not completely poisoned by this thing. I can actually look at it objectively, and I can say I can see the good stuff that was there. Yeah. So does that fit in with Thanksgiving? I suppose so. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Absolutely.
hey, can I share another tidbit of very happy information?
Sure.
So my mom, she's the one who she got baptized like in 1974. I was like 6 years old or 5 years old, and excuse me, and I happened to be down in Virginia at a racetrack. It was pretty cool. Anyway, so she's 80 years old now. She's in a nursing home. She just barely went into pretty much graduate high school, let alone her grow to 80 years old. So
Right.
last week, she asked me when I went and saw her after they took her out of the hospital, put her back in the nursing home. And she said,
Okay.
son, are you having a Thanksgiving gathering at your house this year? And I said, yes, I am. And she said, I want to be there.
What?
She
What?
really, yes. She said,
Wow.
she told me, she said, it's a conscience matter.
Yeah, that's
I want to be there.
right.
And it's the last year of her life. She's on hospice care right now. The fact that we were able to, she couldn't come here because just her health wouldn't allow it. So we were able to bring turkey and all that stuff that my wife made and her favorite pumpkin pie and stuff. We went and we were able to, she had a sample of it all at the nursing home.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Isn't that something?
It's really
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, I just have to share that because that's kind of a highlight of
Oh my
this
God.
this dark area that we're in
That's
right
a
now.
huge highlight.
Yeah.
I'm like ready to bawl my eyes out with happiness. Like, really.
And I want to share one more really happy thing. So
Sure.
I have two children. Like I said, my son is a ministerial servant, but my daughter, they both were baptized the same day. After I had no control over it. I did not want them to, but they did. She was 16 and she was 15 and he was 17. And so when she got older, she ended up escaping, and now she has disassociated herself. And she is actually coming up tomorrow, and she's going to go and visit my mom. And
She's
I
gonna
don't
visit
care
your
if
mom?
any Jehovah's Witnesses, if any witnesses hear me say that, guess what? My mother is going to welcome my disfellowshipped daughter to visit her tomorrow. Yeah,
She's
that's
in the
happening
old
tomorrow.
school. She's in the old school zone. My mother's about the same age, and
Yeah.
it'll be fine. It'll be just like what she said before. Conscience matter. Yes,
Yep.
she's going to be fine with that. I know it. That's
Sorry,
beautiful.
yeah,
Tom.
isn't that cool?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Thank
I
you
just
so
wanted to
much.
share that with you guys. I think it's pretty cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, Big Mac, when are we going to chat again? You sound
What's
like you're full of information there. We need it.
You want what's that?
I said, when we're going to chat again? I said, you full of information. I need it. I think we need it. We need to hear more from you.
Anytime you want, sir. I will share my information and we can keep in touch. I don't care. I think it's great. I have a lot, but
How about
it's just
Zoom?
recently it's just been hard. Because of all the shit that's going on with my mom and stuff, it's been really hard to keep in touch with anybody. But I was able to make contact through Joe and Fran, Wayne Brain Drain, and she has a relative that lives pretty much like 5 miles away from me. and I have this, I have the person's contact information, but I just haven't been able to get in touch with them. And the cool thing is, he lives exactly on the same road that we used to have our Tuesday night book study on.
Wow.
When I was growing up, we had it on Tower Hill in the Weirs Beach of New Hampshire, where they have the motorcycle week. Yeah, and that's where we used to have our meetings every Tuesday night. And one of our elders had a house there, and that
Okay.
guy just happens to live, I think, on the same road. But if not, it's like really close. So that's kind of cool. So hopefully soon, when all this stuff settles out with my mom, I'll be able to open my mind back up to keeping in touch with people. But it's been a really, really tough week to, this
Sorry
last
to
couple
hear
weeks. Yeah. No, that's, anyways. So yes, definitely.
Was
I
Can I
think
ask
I'll
you-
be able to do that. So,
Can I ask you, Tom, was my guess that I mentioned to you earlier, does that fall into place with what you were talking about during the after hours a week ago? About your uncle?
yeah, well, refresh my mind for a second about that.
So you were mentioning on after hours after Six Screens, you were talking about how your uncle never got shunned, but you did.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm assuming it was
Yeah, well, okay. So actually, so it all started with that uncle. He married my mother's sister. My mother's the oldest of 10 kids, and the next oldest, my mother's sister, married this young man who happened to be a Jehovah's Witness at the time, and his parents were Russellites, pretty much. They back in the 60s and 70s, they would hold the meetings at their house. They didn't have a Kingdom Hall back then in the 60s and
Yeah.
early 70s, so they would hold the meetings at their house, and so she ended up with him, getting married to him, and somehow, and then she's the one who started getting all of her sisters involved, and my mother, I think, was the next one that got involved, and then eventually every single one of them pretty much became Jehovah's Witnesses. So it was like, except for the two boys, although one of her brothers, both of her brothers, their wives were involved. But other than that, the brothers never got involved. So
were they
anyways,
involved with the International Bible Students Association?
yes, they were. That's where it was started out, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, that's how that all started, and so then after 1975 came and went, and then they made that rule that you have to quit smoking and stuff.
Yes.
Well, my uncle, the one who got my first aunt involved, he was baptized. She was baptized, but he weren't quitting smoking, and his parents, who used to have the meetings at their house, once 1935 didn't happen and stuff, they were like, "This is bullshit." So they just faded. They faded with no consequences. It was weird. They had no consequences, just like you said, because it was the 70s. So they didn't have consequences at that time.
Okay.
And so they faded, but my aunt still stayed in, and my mom still stayed in, and then the rest of them did. And it built from there. But yeah, that's what that was about. That was how, where I thought that was kind of, it's kind of shady. It's like, how do you reconcile that as a kid? It's like, wait a minute. So
Yeah.
my uncle, Adrian, was a Jehovah's Witness. He's the one who started the whole thing with the whole family.
Right.
And because he didn't want to quit smoking, he never got disfellowshipped. And what and then he ended up proceeding to raise a whole family full of Jehovah's Witnesses. Like, what? How does that work? That was kind of weird. But yeah.
Linda James,
But
there's
I
a
guess-
message from Tom that's come in
most
from
of his
Debbie
kids
Moore.
are still-
Can I read it?
Sure, Tom, can you hold up a minute?
Tom, there's a message for you.
10-4.
And the message is coming from Debbie Moore 2130 saying, Tom, if your mom is in a nursing home, please don't forget that she needs to know her family still loves her and she's not forgotten. I'm in that situation only on the inside. Don't know if you caught that.
Sorry that you're in that situation, but I want to also another shout out for the Jehovah's Witnesses because they have all been 100% supportive of my mom, visiting her on a daily basis, a bunch of them.
Go
It's really weird. So even today, she had a couple. The only thing that bothered me was today, a couple of the eldest went over there and to write her eulogy. I'm like, holy crap, that was hard to swallow. But anyways,
To
they have
write
been
her
100% supportive of her. Pardon me?
to write her eulogy.
Yes. She's on palliative care, so she's gonna be passing away with she's no longer gonna get any more medical. She won't be going to a hospital. Her
Okay.
organs are shutting down and all that stuff right now. So that's why I haven't been able to keep in touch with people right now. But
Yeah, that makes
but
sense.
that's also I've been drinking and I'm a little bit more I've been drinking a little bit tonight, and so I'm a little bit more chatty. So I'm able to have this conversation.
Yeah, so the drinking breaks through the wall, Tom. So that's what's happening, sure. But Debbie's on your side. She's saying so many people have nobody other than the staff that they feel care from. It gets lonely for everyone here. So I'm grateful for my ex-JW family. So look, she something that you're saying is resonating with her, and she's trying to reach out to you with her perspective here. So I think that's interesting.
I'll check that out later. Good right now I can't see the comments because I don't have a computer. I just have my phone right now. But
No
thank you,
problem,
Debbie.
Tom. I enjoy your presence here, and I'm grateful.
Yeah. And I understand. I know I've been following, off and on Debbie's plight with like actually the electric recliner that she got somebody got for her. That was pretty awesome. That was really good news. And, things like that. And I know it's scary. It's scary to be alone, and it sucks when your family is, I'm glad that my mom has so many relatives that are witnesses and that actually do give a shit. She's lucky. A lot of people don't have very many relatives,
Yes. This is
so
true.
she just happens to be lucky having a big family and stuff. And we just happen to be in an area where the witnesses are true blue, 100%. I'm telling you, they've been there for my mom over the last several years, all the time, and
That's
it's
beautiful.
almost the witnesses have almost been as regular as her own family. You know what I mean, or more sometimes. No, but not necessarily because her sisters are really, really good. They've always been there every day, all the time for her too. But and they're all witnesses, and they all think that they're not going to die before the end of the system.
Sure.
Right.
Tom, you've also got the
They're all-
DHappy Heritage.
They're all
Saying, Tom, if you log into YouTube, you can see the chat on your phone. So you can do that whenever you're ready. And you can look back. But it looks like you got a
While
few
I'm talking
people that
to
are
you guys.
rooting for you.
Can I do that while I'm talking to you guys? I don't want to lose this. So I'm on
If you have the
StreamYard right
sound
now,
off,
and I'm just going to stay with you guys. But
if you
Tom,
have the
whatever you're
thank you
comfortable
all.
with.
and
Real
if you
cool.
push stop, you can have the
Thank
sound
you
off.
all.
Push stop,
I
and you'll see the.
I feel the love. I feel the love. Yep. Sorry. What
I
did you say?
hate to. I hate to. My intuition just wants to tell you that. I don't know how your mother has her will set up. I've heard of stories that elders will come in last minute. Oh, he's gone. Okay. So I've heard stories that elders might come in at the last minute and talk Jehovah's Witnesses into donating more than they may have decided to.
Right.
And that's a concern of mine. I think that if somebody wants to donate to the organization, good for them. That's good for them. Okay, he's back. Okay,
Sorry
you're
about
back.
that. Yeah, something happened to my phone. That was weird. But
Well, we got you loud and clear. You're back again.
yeah.
So what I was saying is sometimes elders will show up at the last minute of someone's life to encourage them to give to the organization more than they may have decided to originally. And I have no problem if somebody's decided to. But at times of last minute before they cross over, it can be a bit coercive. So,
well, guess what? Because we have been in this organization for so long, there is nothing to give to them. So,
okay, I just want to put that out there.
No,
If
but
it's
I
not for you,
100%
it might
agree.
be for someone
I
else.
know. I find that criminal. Actually, that is pretty criminal that they do that. But at
That's
least
actually the
in this
definition of undue
case-
influence. Yeah.
yeah, not this case. You know what's really cool. Yeah, I have some stepbrother. He's not a witness. And he bought a house to put my mom up into. So he's been supporting her. I have a wonderful family. Just
That's so
everybody
beautiful.
has just been helping my mom. It's pretty cool.
That's so
yeah.
beautiful. Okay, so
But yeah, she
I'm
doesn't
sorry I
have
was
anything.
up in your business. It's just
No, it's but thank you for telling me, honestly, because they do that. And it's terrible.
yeah,
that they
you've
do
heard
that.
this. Okay, good.
I've seen it happen. We had a
Be
woman.
super good.
She had some lakefront property because we have a lot of lakes around here, and she was a witness, and her husband had a lot of money because he wasn't a witness. And then at the last minute, she was this is the story I heard. She's the woman who actually studied with my mom and brought my mom into truth. So she was supposed to be leaving them a bunch, and then at the very last minute she changed them, so they didn't get anything. It was kind of cool.
Oh. Well,
it's just a
I
side
appreciate
story.
the way
Just
you
a little
received
quick
the.
side story, but you're right, that happens all the time. That happens all the time, and it's terrible. And I remember being at the assemblies and hearing them say that stuff. I used to be so uncomfortable about that. But growing up, do you guys remember that? Oh, your wills and leaving your property and your money to the society instead of to your worldly kids.
But if you have worldly kids, if you have kids that leave the organization, they're dead. So they wouldn't be in their will anyways.
Exactly.
Hello.
They did. I know they made it.
Spiritually dead is what I mean.
They talked about it. They actually said stuff like that to make sure that you have it. so that the society gets it and not your worldly kids.
Right,
You have to
right.
make sure, and we will help you make that. And I never felt comfortable hearing that, but they did do that.
I've heard stories of people that might have been living in the house with their mother or grandmother and supporting her for years and years, and just shortly after their death, that people from Watchtower shows up and says, "This is our property now. You have so many, hours to get out," and they're shocked because they didn't know, because it was a last minute decision. They had no.
Yeah,
So they're
Yeah.
all of a sudden.
That happened. There was a guy on 6 Screens that was talking about that once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So sounds like property's in your brother's name that she was at.
Yeah, that's rough stuff, Linda James. I mean, there's guys on the circuit I know, and their folks have said, yeah, whatever assets that we've got belongs to the organization. So the only thing that you can do is you have to stick with it. The only way you're ever going to get support is if you stick with it, whether you believe or not. Which is why I got that call from the branch, or from the heart of the branch. Because they're saying, yeah, guys are stuck in these systems where they're going, what else can we do? What else are we going to do? So,
it's been written in for so long, you mean? That they don't know.
Yeah, like their family have written in and said, listen, if our assets are going there, so the only thing you can do now is just stick with it. Stay where you are. Go through the motions.
Okay, like a PMO, physically and mentally out.
Yeah. Debbie Moore says, being a criminal isn't always illegal these days. Jails have revolving doors now. You can learn all kinds of ways to commit crimes without breaking the law. Interesting comment.
Depends on where you live, Debbie. If you live in California, yes, maybe. New York City, maybe, but not here in New Hampshire. There's still pretty under control over here, but you're right, 100%. It is that way in a lot of part of the world. It's crazy. They are letting the bullshit go.
Well, that's what we told here in South Africa.
Debbie,
I
can't write to her. I really feel for you, kid. I know you're not a kid, but I feel for you, and I know it's scary. And we all have to go through it. And I just hope that everything goes good for you. And just know that you are loved by your whole community, all of us. We all see your posts, and maybe we don't know what to say, but we feel for you, and we love you, and we care. And there's not much we can do when we're this far away. A lot of us just don't know what to do to help you, but just know that we do love you. And we were Jehovah's Witnesses. We know how to love people. That's why we were, and we're not now, because we still know how to love people, because that's why we're not living the lie.
Well, isn't that interesting that we can live with authenticity and greater intuitive power and greater empathy? And because there is that truth, now it's more constructive.
Yeah. Right. I'm going to close things up in a few minutes. Is there anything you'd like to say, Tom, before I say goodnight?
All I can say is I'm sorry if I kind of took over the whole thing. I really liking the way everything was going, but I'm glad that it didn't end as soon as, I'm glad that we all got to talk. I got a lot of stuff off my chest, and thank you all for your support. And, you know what? I think Thanksgiving should not be, it's not even a friggin' real holiday. It's just an excuse for families to get together and friends to get together.
I agree.
There's nothing patriotic about it. I don't think there's ever really said, except for when we were little kids in school and we had to trace our hands to make a turkey.
Right.
for a picture, and then not be able to actually do it because we were Jehovah's Witnesses. That was like the only patriotic thing about it. There was never. Anyways, I think Thanksgiving Day. I think they should have one in every country, and they should just make up a reason for it because it's a wonderful time to just say hi. You know how many family members I've reached out to today just to say hi, and a lot of everybody else I think have done the same, and I think it's a wonderful thing. There's
I do too.
nothing bad about it. And I'm
Me
so
too.
glad that you did this, Linda. Thank you so much for opening this up to us. And that's all I got
Tom,
to say.
nice,
I'm done.
nice to meet you and nice to chat with you a bit. And I hope you get some rest and look forward to maybe a chat in future.
6
Please
screens
do.
after hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
6
okay.
screens.
Check you on 6 screens.
How about you,
10,
Matthew?
4.
10.
What's that?
Linda James, I know that you're wanting to wrap up. I want to say thank you very much for this provision. It's been very, very interesting. It's been great during the week. Glad that you opened it up. Also, again, I might chirp the same thing over and over, but I'm very grateful for those in the comments and the community coming in and supporting you. And I'm also very grateful for your singing that you brought in here. I got a few ideas about it. I think we should
Okay.
record you on something like Audacity and put together a little, I don't know, music short or something like that. I mean, you've put me on the spot. You said, Matt, shove your artwork on, so I think it's your turn now.
You wanted to support me in my gift. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
So,
you.
So I'm going to say thank you very much. And Linda James, if you want to wrap up with your wise words of the day, that'll be great. And I'll listen to you from YouTube.
Please hold on for a second. I got one thing to say.
Sure.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Tom. Go
All right.
ahead.
Joe and Fran have my contact information. So if you guys have a way to get a hold of them, please do and contact me. Okay, and that'd be cool. Okay,
Okay.
Thank
that's
you,
the only
Tom.
thing I can say. I just wanted to say that. Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
Get
And,
some good rest.
and,
And great
Linda-
talking with you. Thank you.
Linda, I'm gonna look
Yes.
for a new speaker for Linda on Black Friday.
Okay. That's so cool. That is so awesome. Okay. You know what? Opening this up tonight turned out to be really nice. I did it so that we could kind of touch bases, see how we're doing. Sometimes when we get around family, whether they're still a Jehovah's Witness or not, politics might come up, different doctrines might come up. Sometimes we don't always get along. Sometimes it's a great day, whether we were by ourselves or we were with other people. We also get to choose the family of choice, which is something many of us do as well. So we may have spent time with them today too. All in all, I just wanted us to check in with each other, being that it was a holiday here in the United States. And like Shauna said at the end of Joe and Fran's show a few days ago, that we can call this holiday another name. We could call it Friendsgiving, Family Giving. We can call it anything we want. This is typically a day that people don't have to work. So it's an awesome time to gather. And I'm very thankful you showed up here tonight and hung out with Matthew and I. And thank you so much, Tom, for showing up and sharing about your mother and about the Kingdom Hall and how your friends at the Kingdom Hall helped put together your home and made it a larger home. Thank you so much. I'm very, very thankful for those that were listening in tonight and those that will be listening to this later. This is really, I know I say it every time, but this is really a highlight of my week, getting to do this with you. And I'm just very thankful that you show up here and that you listen to what is talked about, you share what goes on with you. Thank you so much for being part of this. If you think this might benefit anybody, please share it with others. And give it a like, because that's going to help the algorithm for it to be shared more in people's threads on YouTube. So this is Thursday, and I will be doing a show on Saturday. So Friday and Saturday, I will see you in 2 more days. So I will see you then. Thank you, and I'll talk with you later. Good night.
I never made it, but I know